franchise in the history of professional sports. World Series over.
They never lost their fighting heart.
Yankees win. Remarkable achievement. Yankees win.
Is overcoming the Yankees a big deal?
Yeah, it is a big deal.
We've always lost in the first round to the Yankees.
Be the reigning champs.
They're a great team.
We're looking forward to playing some baseball.
That ball is gone.
Such a tremendous season. Did you really expect anything different?
The Texas Rangers move on to the American League Championship Series.
We made history today. We made history for the franchise. We made history for the fans. The Yankees are next.
We are in Texas, where the Friday night lights are burning brightest at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington for Game 1 of the ALCS. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. It is Game 1 of a best-of-7 series as the New York Yankees take on the Texas Rangers from Arlington, Texas. The New York Yankees have won 40 American League pennants. The Texas Rangers have never played for one until right now. So here goes. Welcome to the ALCS on TBS. I'm Ernie Johnson with Ron Darling and John Smoltz. Let's start with the reigning champions. They made quick work of the Minnesota Twins, a 3-game sweep, and so they can throw their ace tonight in Game 1.
Yeah, what that series did is it gives them the luxury to put CC out there in Game 1 and possibly even for two more starts. All he's done since he's been with the Yankees has been dominant. He's got a power fastball, power slider, and a good dead fist changeup. And he's an intimidating factor on the mound. And if you're going to have one guy pitch for you to start on the road, it's CC Sabathia. Look at the numbers, 4-1, 2.34 in the ERA in the postseason alone. And if he's going to continue the Texas Rangers' woes, CC Sabathia is going to have a big impact in this game.
The Rangers took a rather unconventional route to their first ALCS. They have not lost on the road, have not won at home, Ron.
Well, they don't have Cliff Lee starting Game 1, but they have lots of weapons. They can beat you with speed as they did in the first inning. Elvis Andrus on second base, on the ground ball to first. He doesn't stay at third. He continues to score the game's first run. But they can also slug with you, as you witnessed in the ninth inning, Elvis Andrus getting the home run to left field. That was Ian Kinsler. And then, of course, C.J. Wilson, who has been outstanding all season long. 15 wins, 11 wins at home.
The Rangers have already knocked one thing off of their to-do list. They have won a postseason series. The next thing on that list, win a postseason game at home. They are 0-6 all time. The first pitch right around the bend.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. What's in your wallet? And brought to you in part by Verizon. The signal is yours, wielded to transmit anything you want. Verizon. By the new action comedy Red, now in theaters. And by Foster's. Do you speak Australian? Foster's is Australian for beer.
We have a perfect night for the opener of the ALCS here on TBS. 80 degrees at first pitch. Tomorrow's going to be an afternoon game. Temperatures expected to be in the mid-80s. Here's the lineup that the Yankees send out here in Game 1. Derek Jeter in the leadoff spot. Nick Swisher hits second. Then it's Mark Teixeira, the former Ranger. Another one of those is Alex Rodriguez. He hits cleanup. Robinson Cano in the 5-hole at second base. The DH is Marcus Timms, had a big home run in the clincher against Minnesota. Jorge Posada behind the plate. Curtis Granderson with the left-hander on the mound, drops to the number 8 spot in the order, followed by the number 9 hitter, the disruptive, as C.J. Wilson calls him, Brett Gardner.
And for C.J. Wilson, you know, he didn't have a lot of good numbers against the Yankees this year, but this is a much different pitcher. It's a guy who was in their bullpen last year, and he's been a solid starter. You look at those numbers, 15 and 8, but most impressive was his second half numbers and then taking it into the playoffs. and beaten the Tampa Bay Rays. So this is a much different game. It's going to be an exciting game. Look for CJ to throw a lot of different pitches to try and get these hitters off balance.
You sound like you're ready to put the uniform back on.
I'm ready.
Man. They are ready here in Arlington to 50,000 strong, a sea of red. And for the first time in their history, the Texas Rangers are playing for a spot in the World Series. Derek Jeter will lead it off for the Yankees against C.J. Wilson. Flash bulbs all over this ballpark. The American League Championship Series is underway. You see those regular season numbers for Derek Jeter at 270. That from a guy who hit 317 in his career coming into this season. Nowhere near with that one. A ball and a strike.
We see the defense, Jeff Francoeur in right field playing extremely shallow, trying to take away those little broken bat hits that Jeter gets to right field.
The 1-1.
Well, to your point, Ron, he's so good at going on the way, especially with 2 strikes. He battles in the strike zone, and what the Rangers want to do is take away those little loopers that he's been able to be so famous for in getting these hits.
To third. A little bit of a tricky hop, but Michael Young throws him out, 1 down.
Well, defensively behind C.J. Wilson in the outfield, probably the best throwers in baseball. Nelson Cruz, Hamilton, and of course Jeff Francoeur. In the infield, got Michael Young, Elvis Andrus, the young talented shortstop, Ian Kinsler, and of course Jorge Cantu, who came over from the Florida Marlins. And Matt Trainer gets the start. He caught C.J. Wilson in Game 2.
The energetic Nick Swisher hitting number 2 in that Yankee lineup tonight against the lefty Wilson. Went 4 for 12 in the Minnesota series and takes a strike.
C.J. Wilson loves to pitch down in the strike zone. He's already gotten every single low call by Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire.
That ball's hit down the left side and foul.
Interesting enough, in this day and age where you got stats for everything, he threw 1 prior game with Davis behind the plate, no earned runs.
Time is going to be called. A ball's been thrown.
Sorry about that.
I
got excited again.
Center that a baby.
You're the only person that does color commentary that could throw it that far, John.
Breaking pitch missed. A ball and 2 strikes. C.J. Wilson, a guy who has thrown, well, countless numbers of pitches, including, he says, the gyro ball, which he experimented with. Dice K made it famous. Made him dance and knocked him down at the plate. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Yeah, he said he experimented with it, but he hurt his elbow.
He said, yeah, let this be a warning to you. It's not good for your elbow. He says he's thrown everything in a game but a knuckleball in the course of his career. 2-2 with 1 out. Tried to check, and he's punched out. Tony Randazzo, the first base umpire, said he went 2 up and 2 down.
Well, this is a pretty easy one to call for Randazzo. Up in the strike zone. Really the first pitch he's thrown up. And with that swing too far by Nick Swisher.
And what that was a 2-2 changeup that it got away from him, but it was up in the eyes where the hitter looked like he wanted to go after it and couldn't hold up.
Here is Mark Teixeira. Of course, everybody in that Yankee gray uniform is going to be booed tonight. But there's a special reserve for the 3 and 4 hitters in the Yankee lineup. Former Rangers Teixeira and Alex Rodriguez. 2 balls and no strikes.
You know, one of the keys to pitching in the postseason is, can you calm your nerves? Can you be able to throw your, what I call, all your pitches that have finesse with the the consistency that you need, your curveball, your changeup. Your fastball, you know, is going to be there because the adrenaline takes you there. So far, he did a great job in his opening series to see if he can continue it here against the Yankees.
Ball's hit sharply to third. Young gobbled it up. 1, 2, 3 in the first. We welcome you back to Arlington. We head to the bottom half of the first inning, and here's the batting order for the Texas Rangers. Elvis Andrus leads it off, followed by Michael Young. Josh Hamilton, the number 3 hitter. The DH is Vladimir Guerrero, followed by Nelson Cruz, who had 3 home runs in the Tampa Bay series. So did Ian Kinsler. Jeff Francoeur plays right field. Matt Traynor behind the plate, and the number 9 hitter, the first baseman, is Jorge Cantu.
And they're going to be facing CC Sabathia. It's the game of the 2 initial starters here, but he's the horse for New York, and he sets the tempo, and he had great success against the Rangers hitters this year. Look for him to try and come out of it in the first inning and make some changes from all that rest he's had.
Andrus takes the first pitch. You got to be alive if you're playing defense against this Texas team. Most infield hits in baseball. Second most bunt hits behind the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Andrus had 34 infield hits and bunted his way on 12 times.
Ron Washington, talking about Andrus today, said he's just one of those players that when the spotlight's on, he turns it up a notch. Outstanding in that first series against Tampa Bay. 3 stolen bases.
Just turned 22 in August. 2 balls and a strike. One other thing about Elvis Andrus, he has not cut his hair since spring training.
Hey, he's got something in common with me.
His is by choice. Yours, there's no need. You and I are in that same boat. 3-1. The leadoff hitter is on for the Rangers here in the first.
And defensively for the Yankees this evening in the outfield, Gardner, lots of speed, Granderson and Swisher in right field. Alex Rodriguez, Derek Jeter, Robinson Cano, an MVP year, and Teixeira with those gold gloves at first base. Of course, Jorge Posada doing the catching.
Well, in talking with Dave Island, the pitching coach, one of the concerns was, you know, he had a rough start in Minnesota. It wasn't CC-like, and what did they do different? And he said, well, we threw a little bit more often because one of the things you can't be is too strong for a guy like him, and so far, missing out of the strike zone.
We will see how much the Rangers force the issue as far as speed goes in this series. Certainly used it to their advantage against Tampa Bay. The guy on first base right now, Elvis Andrus, stole 32 bags in the regular season. Good for number 9 in the American League. He's got his lead over there. And Young takes 2 balls and no strikes.
The thing about CC, though, he has that great slide step. He's very quick to the plate, but Jorge has had a tough time throwing the baseball all season long. Again, missing up and away with those pitches like he did early in Minnesota.
Well, the Rangers hitters knew that too coming in, that if you're going to get him, it's got to be early. Because CC will make the adjustment like every great pitcher does, and the catcher's going right out to tell him to settle down a little bit, get that fastball in the zone. And the Rangers couldn't ask for a better beginning to what they hoped would be a home start.
How do you pitch in an atmosphere like this, John? When you're in the other guy's ballpark, you got everybody on their feet, everybody's going nuts, you got to be amped.
Well, you are. And as we watch this 3-0 pitch, the one thing CC knows, first of all, he's an intimidating figure on the mound, and he's not intimidated by the crowd, and he's been there, done that. He's got 4 wins for the Yankees in the postseason. And it's just a matter of timing. It's so hard to explain to the viewer, well, what's the difference? Well, 8 days, 7 days, 5 days off is a big difference for a pitcher.
That ball is hit sharply into left center field, base hit. Andrus will go first to third easily as Young takes a big turn and holds it first. They're on the corners with nobody out.
Well, you can't get behind these Texas hitters. Michael Young, a great year this year out of the 2-hole, 21 home runs, and great line drive hitter. Had to come to Michael Young because of the count, and CC laid one in there, and Young took advantage. We talk about speed in the outfield. Well, Gardner getting to that ball in the gap stopped Young from getting a double on that hit.
So with 2 on and nobody out, Josh Hamilton steps to the plate. Gaudy regular season numbers, though the end of his year was marred by injury. Takes a strike. Yeah, the Rangers trying to break through early here. They've scored 2 runs in their last 60 postseason innings against the Yankees. But they've got him at first and third.
Well, the Rangers open with this extra day rest. Ron Washington is hoping that Josh Hamilton is healed a little more and that he will be a factor in this series. He was not a factor in the Tampa Bay series.
He's behind 0-2. That ball's hit down the line and right and deep and gone.
The Texas Rangers would not be ready to play. They are showing it in this first inning. A hanging slider from CC Sabathia and a line drive home run from Hamilton.
Here is Guerrero. And what a cut he had.
CC could have thrown 13 straight balls and you knew he was going to swing at the first pitch. That's the guy sometimes you want at the plate, even as dangerous as he is, to try and get a strike like that when you're struggling.
That ball is hit well. Curtis Granderson back to the track and hauls it in.
Well, you look at this pitch right here, a hanging perfect recipe for a ball hit hard. And it's got exactly what he did down the line. He did not get too aggressive, stayed compact, and a huge start for the Rangers as they know they win this game, they can beat up CC a little bit. It resets the whole flavor of the series because this is their horse on the mound, and you know you got your guy waiting in Game 3.
The horse saddled with a 3-run deficit early on here. If you're just joining us, and most of these fans hadn't even settled into their seats. Elvis Andrus walked, Michael Young singled, and Josh Hamilton drilled a 3-run homer. We are in the bottom of the first. Cruz takes a strike, 1-1.
CC had a start against the Rangers in April where he started the game with 12 consecutive strikes. Just the opposite here in October.
Cruz went deep 3 times in that series against Tampa Bay, knocked in 3 runs, all solo homers, and he and Ian Kinsler in the 5 and 6 spots did most of the offensive damage for Texas. Came up empty, 2 balls and 2 strikes.
You know, it was an interesting pitch selection, John, too. Josh Hamilton, he had swung at a couple of fastballs and fouled them over the third base dugout late on that fastball. His bat was sped up with that hanging slider.
The 2-2.
Well, I'm sure what they saw and what the Yankees saw was, hey, he was swinging over a lot of pitches from David Price, who's a similar pitcher to CC Sabathia, so he went right to the money pitch saying we're going to throw this until he shows he can hit it. Well, it was just a bad pitch. The pitch selection could have been the right one. It just was a bad location.
Blew toward right. Swisher will have to play it on the hop.
Well, we talked about Jeff Francoeur playing in against Jeter to take away these kind of hits. You certainly can't do that against Nelson Cruz. 3 home runs in the previous series against Tampa Bay. You have to play him deep. You're going to get those kind of hits.
An early visit to the mound by Yankees pitching coach Dave Eiland.
Look, in these moments, all you need as a pitcher, I know it's 3-0, you just need something to reset your mind and everything. Something mechanically, a pitch that goes to the spot you want it to, and I'm sure that's what that trip was to do. Hey, let's just get back to the basics. We're going to score some runs. Keep it here.
This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you in HD by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. And we appreciate you spending your Friday night with us here on TBS. What an atmosphere on a perfect night in Arlington, Texas. Here's Ian Kinsler. Talk about the guys who have speed on that Texas lineup, and the guy at first right now, Nelson Cruz, stole 17 bases this year.
And a big steal in that Tampa Bay series where he scored on the error by the catcher for the Rays.
Away again, 2 balls and no strikes.
John, do you see what I see? Really flying open with that front side of CC Sabathia.
Yeah, that front side of CC is very important. I mean, he's a big man, and he uses very athletic with his motion, but when that front side, and we call it the sights for a pitcher, starts lifting up and going out, your pitches are not going to go where your eyes want them to go.
Ran it inside and missed. Not often when you look at that pitch count chart on CC Sabathia and see more balls than strikes.
See if the Rangers have the green light here, 3-0. CC likes to attack 3-0 hitters with a fastball.
He's swinging, fouls it off. 3-1. We talked about the impact that Ian Kinsler had against the Tampa Bay Rays in that first series.
He is one of those guys. He can spin on that left heel, really handles the ball from the middle of the plate in as well as anyone in the American League.
You don't think he thought that last one was gone in Game 5, do you? Skip half the way to first. CC throws over, and Cruz back. 1 on, 3 in, 1 out here in the first.
These are the things that happen when you are struggling with your control. Then you have indecision with your catcher. The pulse of the game slows down to a steady crawl.
It's all about timing, and the timing right now is just not as fresh. And part of that has to do with the time off. You can only create so many simulated bullpens.
Three balls and 2 strikes to Ian Kinsler.
Well, you look at his first innings, everything going pretty good. First 6 starts. Tonight, the Rangers have done exactly what you want to do, is jump on him early.
Payoff pitch is low. And they're at first and second.
Well, what you have here, if you're CC, you've got to reset the situation going, okay, I've got an aggressive hitter at the plate, make a good pitch, and maybe I can get out of here with a double play. Now, obviously, if you don't make a good pitch, you're looking at some more runs for the Rangers because Jeff Francoeur is very aggressive early in the count.
And really the pitch that you have to watch out. Very rarely will you throw Francoeur a first pitch fastball here.
He played 15 games for the Rangers after coming over from the New York Mets. Hit .340 with 2 home runs and knocked in 11 runs. They lead from first and second. And now Sabathia steps off. He did not throw him the first pitch fastball, but missed with the breaking pitch. It's 1-0.
It's amazing, the cat and mouse game, especially this time of the year. You have all your scouts come in. They give you all this information to tell you everything about the hitters and the pitchers, and it's up to each individual to execute in what they know.
And you hang 1-0-2 slider to a hitter, 3-run home run, scuff him from then on.
A number of Rangers thought that CC had balked. There was no call. On the corner, a ball and a strike. Cruz with the lead at second. Kinsler at first. The pitch to Francoeur. 1 ball and 2 strikes. So Sabathia trying to work his way out of this right now and limit the damage, which right now stands at 3 first-inning runs. Francoeur, the 7th hitter in the inning. Popped him up. Derek Jeter with the infield fly in effect makes the play, 2 down.
Well, you got to pitch an off-speed pitch that he gets down enough and just fools Jeff Francoeur just enough to pull off the ball and hit a pop-up. And for CC, he's going, okay, man, 1 more out. Let me get in the inning, reset it. Who knows? Club might score a couple runs. We're right back in it. He's just trying to get that 3rd out. Sometimes, Ron, the first inning or whatever it is can get so out of whack you're like counting outs when you would normally not even think about counting outs.
Here's Matt Trainer. Jorge Posada kept that in front and then bluffed Cruz back to second.
Cruz, huge lead at second base. Trainer, who's a guy that will hit the ball to the right side, so Cano doesn't want to cheat too much to hold Cruz close so he can gobble that ball up in the hole.
Matt Trainer looking at a 3-0 count.
And to help Cano see Teixeira, you can't get any further off first base than Teixeira is right now, as he's trying to cover that hole also.
They are loaded. Third walk of the inning for CC Sabathia. 4th member of our crew is Craig Sager. Segs.
Well, thanks, EJ. Although the Rangers have taken the lead with a home run, they did lead the American League in infield hits and sacrifice bunts. And for this series against the Yankees, the infield grass has been tailored to their strengths. Team President Nolan Ryan ordered the grounds crew not to mow the grass. Instead of that half-inch to an inch you see in most infields, this one is over 3 inches in length. As for the Yankees, Ryan hopes those hard-hit grounders that go through the hole for base hits will become routine outs.
All right, Segs. So the Rangers batting around here in the first. Here's Jorge Cantu. That ball goes all the way back to the screen, and look at the ricochet, and at the plate, he is out. Cruz tried to score. The ball bounced right back to Posada, who fed Sabathia. And the Yankees get out of it.
One of the little things you have to know how it's going to come off the backstop.
Man, that was a close play at the plate, but Jerry Davis, the home plate umpire, got it right.
He did get it right. In great position. You can see CC late to the play, but was able to tag him right on that arm and then continue on the shoulder. It looked like he beat him to the plate, but no, he tagged him before the slide.
Alex Rodriguez leads it off here in the second and takes a strike. A-Rod played here from 2001 to 2003 as you take another look at this play and how close it was, but he got the tag on him.
Yeah, that left leg, sorry, John, went over the plate.
Take one more look.
Well, this is the last thing you think about when you see CC on the mound, but again, he gets there late, allows him to tag him up high. If he gets there early, he's going to tag him down low. Might be a different result. It worked out for the Yankees. It worked out for CC.
2-2 now to A-Rod, saying he played here from 2001 to 2003. MVP in 2003 at 156 homers and 395 runs batted in. And he strikes out to lead off the second. Very symmetrical card so far for C.J. Wilson. Leadoff hitter went 5-3, then a strikeout. Teixeira went 5-3, then a strikeout. Here's Cano.
What are you trying to say? It's going to be 5-3.
Just don't want to take you by surprise if it happens, John. Cano went 4 for 12 in the Minnesota series.
One of the things I thought was important in that series was the left-handed pitching of Minnesota taking care of the left-handed hitters of New York. Same thing here. This left-hander, C.J. Wilson's not giving up a home run to any left-handers, and it's very important he takes care of the left-handed hitters in this lineup because these bottom two guys were very successful in the first series.
Blooped into shallow left. Andrews back, and he makes the play. He went back as Cruz came on. And it was the old snow cone, but he hung on.
What a play by Andrews. One of the few shortstops in baseball that has that kind of range to steal that ball from Nelson Cruz. Wasn't even able to backhand it with the glove underneath the baseball. Still makes the catch.
Yeah, lucky for Texas, no collision there or a foot in the face or anything that could happen on that play. He was able to walk right by and not have anything happen to Cruz as he was sliding.
Here's Marcus Timms. Takes high. One thing that the long layoff between series did for Marcus Timms, at least, able to go home to Mississippi and see his mom, Veterine, who's been in the hospital there, and we send her our best, and certainly the best from Marcus as he lines to left. Cruz makes the play. That ball well hit. Cruz played it well, and it's 6 up and 6 down. Bottom half of the second in Arlington. Game 1 of the ALCS, and of course, 6-man umpiring crews. We showed you Jerry Davis making the right call behind the plate. Last inning, Tony Randazzo, Jim Reynolds, you see him there. Angel Hernandez at third. Left field line, Field and Culberth, and on the right field line, Brian Gorman. Here's Jorge Cantu. He was at the plate in the bottom of the first when Nelson Cruz was thrown out trying to score on that pitch to the screen. So he leads it off here in the second.
And he goes from an RBI situation to no one on base. It's a bad play for Cruz in that last inning because this is his home ballpark. He's got to know how that ricochet will come off.
The 2-0 is fouled off. Cantu came over from Florida and will be the first to admit that he didn't do what he was brought here to do. He said, I didn't produce. When he finally did come up with a couple of RBIs and a home run, it was in the same game against Oakland in the division clincher. Count even at 2-2.
Well, if CC's like a lot of other pitchers, don't know what his in-between inning routine is, I'm sure he would have gone down and seen the computer and tried to pick out whatever it was mechanically that he could figure to make adjustments. His fastball is picked up a little bit, miles per hour, but his location's got to get more in the zone that we're used to seeing him.
He threw 35 pitches in the first. Popped up behind first. Teixeira is called off by Cano, 1 down. Here's a look at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington. These stadium perspectives courtesy of Sony PlayStation's MLB 10. The show, you see the dimensions around the outfield and that home run porch into the Texas Rangers bullpen in right center.
Well, John, you're talking about CC. There's two options you have as a pitcher when you have a tough first inning. Yes, you can go to the computer and see if you have find any flaws, or you can start throwing around the furniture. That's been done also.
Yes, it has.
By both of the men seated in this booth with me. Andrews walked his first time, scored on the Hamilton bomb. Rodriguez and Teixeira both at the edge of the grass.
Well, the first thing you look for is the fastball being a position where it's up, and that is just another indication of, you know, a little bit of rust. And that first inning could be huge for New York because they got out of trouble without having to face that next hitter. But he's going to have to make the adjustment somewhere to get the fastball down.
Shortened up on the bat. Got Tex and A-Rod both charging from the corners.
And you never want to get caught in between, Ron, about should I take some on, put some on, or take some off? Do I aim it? No, CC's an accomplished pitcher where his firm fastball down is going to get a lot of hitters out.
The problem you have here, though, here's a guy that has not made the adjustment. Even though he's a veteran pitcher, he keeps missing in the same spot, up and away to right-handers.
You see, this is pitch number 46, and we're in the second. Andrews didn't think so, but it's strike 2.
Well, with the infield back now, everyone's pushed back. He will bunt with 2 strikes. Taking this pitch here just on the corner. Good pitch by CC.
To first, Teixeira, the Gold Glover. So smooth over there, 2 down. You know your old teammate in Atlanta can pick him over there, Joe.
There's no doubt he covers ground as good as anybody. You see how far off the line he was. But some really good approaches so far from the Rangers hitters, taking advantage of the pitches out of the zone and putting good contact on it.
Teixeira also knows that Sabathia sometimes is late to getting to first base. He popped up and sprinted to first to make that play.
Well, here's Michael Young, who singled his first time. Michael Young finally in the postseason after oh so many years. He had a home run in that first series after the disputed check swing call. Went just 3 for 20. Was fooled there. Young, the ultimate team guy. Was their everyday second baseman from 2001 to 03, their everyday shortstop from 04 to 08, and now in the last 2 seasons, the starting third baseman, and he takes strike 3 called. And so after struggling in the first, it's a 1-2-3 second for CC.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Office of the Commissioner of Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent.
2 complete, we head to the third. 7, 8, and 9 heading to the plate for the Yankees. Jorge Posada to face C.J. Wilson. Posada went 3 for 11 in the Minnesota series, all those hits coming from the right side. He waves at that 0-2. C.J. Wilson dialed in here early. To short. Andrews.
We didn't even mention what a great job he did last inning, Ron, after a big 3 runs in the first. That shutdown inning is so important, and especially when he sat there all that time, you know, and the adrenaline of the game. He did a great job coming out and getting 3 outs.
Here's Curtis Granderson, who hit .450 in the ALDS and was effective whether he was hitting in the 2-hole or the 8-hole. Hitting 8th tonight against the left-hander. Broken bat, first hit for the New York Yankees. There was so much concern earlier this year about the struggles he was having against left-handed pitching. No longer.
In fact, they were not playing against left-handed pitching. And Granderson was sitting out, and was here in Arlington that he worked with Kevin Long and worked on his stroke. And he has returned a different hitter against lefties or righties.
Yeah, now 3 for 7 against left-handed pitching.
Now here is Brett Gardner. Wilson talking about him in his press conference yesterday and called him disruptive. Gardner's heard a lot of different descriptions. He's a pest, he's a nuisance, he's disruptive, that kind of thing. He really works counts well. And against a guy like Wilson, whose problem has been bases on balls, he's walked more than anybody else in the American League. Rest assured that Gardner will try to work him here in the top half of the third. Granderson's at first with 1 out.
You know, there's 100 different problems you have when you're facing the Yankees, but one of them is that they have so much history in the postseason that they've been in every single scenario. They've been up 3 trying to hold on. They've been behind 5 trying to catch up. So there's no panic, you would think, in this Yankee team as they face Wilson.
We talk about the postseason histories of these 2 teams, and that's just a bit unbalanced. As the Yankees, the chase for title number 28, looking for their 41st American League pennant. And the Texas Rangers, now in their 39th season in Texas, playing in their first ALCS. And when you saw Ron Washington the other night, after they clinched in Game 5 in Tampa Bay, his players were celebrating on the field. He stood away. He said he was just soaking in the feeling of pride that had overcome him at that time. So proud of a team that had talked about this in spring training, and that dream was still alive. That's in too tight. 3-0.
Well, you always say you want to get a pitcher out of the stretch. It's the first time he's out of the stretch and having a little bit of trouble. We talked about the 8th and 9th hitter being really important for him. And now it looks like with a 3-0 count, the Yankees can start the top of their lineup with some runners on base.
How many times you see it? A pitcher starts a game, retires 7 or 8 in a row, and then he comes in the stretch and he has a hard time finding the strike zone.
You have people at home always asking the question, why can they throw a strike 3-0 so easily but can't throw it 1-0? Well, you don't know what the guy's doing. You don't want to lay it in there. Most of the times 3-0 you think the guy's taken. So it is a little more easy because the doubt's gone.
I saw Rob Thompson flashing signs down there at the third base coach's box as Brett Gardner does his thing, draws a walk. Visit TBS Hot Corner at MLB.com/TBS Hot Corner to sign up and watch live video companion coverage of this game and every ALCS game. Talking to Brett Gardner yesterday, he said, look, my job is not to get a hit. My job is to get on base. And from the number 9 hole, he does, drawing a 1-out walk. So there are Yankees at first and second in a 3-0 game. And it's the top of the order and Derek Jeter.
In a regular season game, this wouldn't be that big of a deal. 1 out, first and second, ground ball for a double play. In the postseason, this is a huge rally. Doesn't matter if you're up 3-0. You want to kill this rally as soon as possible.
To center, Josh Hamilton. 2 down.
And what I mean by that is everything is so much more magnified. You know, you're having to deal with all the, oh my gosh, they get right back in it. But here at home, you want to keep your crowd as fired up as possible. And as a starting pitcher, keep the zeros coming.
Jeter is 0 for 2. He came into this game with a streak of 19 straight games of reaching safely in the postseason. Swisher bats with 2 down and 2 on. He struck out his first time.
And these veteran Yankee hitters, they know what situation it is. Swisher's not going up there to hit a 3-run home run. He would love to hit a 3-run home run, but he knows just a base hit here. Get a run on the board. That's all you have to do. Chip away.
Great speed with Granderson and Gardner on the bases. Swisher takes a strike, 1-1.
What's made C.J. Wilson such a good pitcher this year as a starter, out of the bullpen, he primarily said, he let it eat. Here's my fastball, see if you can hit it. Now he throws any pitch at any time in the count, and he's really become a transformation of a hard-throwing closer to an all-around real good starting pitcher.
Popped him up. Michael Young calls at third. The Yankees put 2 on, but do not score. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. Well, the Rangers came into this game having scored just 2 runs in their last 60 postseason innings against the Yankees, but scored 3 in the first on 1 swing from this guy, Josh Hamilton, who swings and misses to start off the bottom half of the third. Again falls behind 0-2, which isn't always a bad thing.
Well, even in this bat, 0-2 pitch to Hamilton in that first inning, a hanging slider that he hits over the wall in right field. He still is, in this at bat, throwing the fastball right by him.
Hamilton led baseball in hitting at .359. Was number 1 in the American League, hitting .369 with runners in scoring position. He had lofty, gaudy numbers all over the board. He takes there, including hitting .390 in this ballpark, which was the best in the American League. And after going 2 for 18 in that first series against the Rays, he connected in his first at bat against CC Sabathia. Here comes a 2-2. He's worked it full.
2 fastballs to get ahead. 3 straight sliders in the dirt. All for balls.
Well, the second slider he threw was the money pitch, and Hamilton had enough discipline to check his swing because that was a great pitch by CC, and now we got a full count. Let's see what he goes to. I think he's going to throw a heater.
If you are just joining us here on TBS, it's Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. We're in Arlington, Texas. The New York Yankees and the Texas Rangers meeting for the 4th time in the postseason. It's been all New York Yankees. The Texas Rangers won the first game in the postseason between these two, then lost 9 in a row. It's been all Texas tonight, scoring 3 in the first on a 3-run shot by Josh Hamilton, who's at first with a leadoff walk here in the 3rd.
And you see right there evidence of what I'm talking about. 4 walks for CC. That's the most he's had in 7 postseason starts. Last 7 postseason starts, you get a guy up there who wants to swing the bat. And you throw another one right there, he might golf it, hit it off the ground, and hit a home run.
Got to be the toughest guy in the world to pitch to, John.
Well, you just don't know what to do. Sometimes you say throw it down the middle because he doesn't know what to do with it down the middle.
Talking to Derek Jeter and Brett Gardner yesterday about defending Vladimir Guerrero. And a lot of times you know what's coming and you're going to shade that way. And Brett Gardner said there are times, you know, I'll be in left field. I know he's going to pitch him away. And all of a sudden I'm sprinting toward the line and left. How the heck did he hit the ball down there? But that's Vlad. He's behind 0-2.
Well, one of the recipes earlier in his career, you had to move his feet. You had to throw the ball in because he has such great length with his arms. He can get to the ball off the plate. The only thing that made him uncomfortable was the ball in. Now he's thrown 2 great off-speed pitches down. You got to bounce it if you want to get him to swing at the 3rd one and miss it.
Missed with the 0-2.
Well, that was just a purpose pitch there. Pitch high in the strike zone. So he has to witness that at 92 miles an hour. Now probably going to bottom out that changeup again.
Yeah, change the eye levels of the hitters is so important when you're pitching. Got to get them changed the view of what they last saw.
He bounced it, but he wouldn't bite. The thing that jumps out too at you against a free swinger like Vlad Guerrero, you think, wow, he swings at everything. He must strike out a lot. He's among the best in the business at being the toughest to fan. Only struck out 60 times in the regular season. He waits on a 2-2 from Sabathia here in the 3rd.
Boy, this is the same at bat he had against Hamilton. Got ahead, bounced some breaking balls, not biting with 2 strikes on the Texas Rangers. A guy that you thought might pitch 3 times in this series. 61 pitches now for CC.
8th time he's gone to 3 balls as we play here in the 3rd.
But as we've seen before, I caution the Rangers, you better knock him out. You better take advantage of this. 3 runs may not be enough, and CC has shown he can battle his way and keep it here. This is where, if you're the Rangers team, you've got to take advantage of his inconsistency.
Runner going. Strikeout. And Hamilton steals second.
Well, very good jump by Hamilton on a 3-2 pitch. Usually you have to wait to deliver the ball, but he got a great jump. And even though the strikeout was right down the middle, a good ball for Posada to throw. He has struggled all season long, and an easy stolen base for Hamilton.
Yeah, right down the middle was the key to getting him out. He didn't know what to do. As you mentioned, he got a good jump. Runner in 2nd scoring position for the Rangers.
And for Nelson Cruz, who singled his first time. And there's a balk by Sabathia, which puts Hamilton at 3rd.
Well, when he tried to hold the runner earlier on in the game, he almost blocked in, and this time it's almost like he tripped over the rubber with his left foot while he was trying to step off. You can watch, he's taking the sign now, goes with his left foot, and the ball kind of dropped in his glove, which made him trip over the rubber, and they called the balk.
With one out, the Yankees bring the infield in. Hit to third. Off Rodriguez, who gathers himself and makes the play, and Hamilton has to hold at third.
Classic fundamentals from Alex Rodriguez. Great job of defending at third base. You're in, the ball gets in on you really quickly. He gets right in front, glove down, and the worst that could happen in that position is exactly what happened. Goes off his body, he keeps it in front, doesn't panic, and makes that play at first base very easily. Just classic form, down low, working from the ground up, and makes a fine play on Cruz.
So Hamilton still at third, now 2 down. For Ian Kinsler, who walked his first time. In the first, after they had scored 3 times, the Rangers loaded the bases, but couldn't take advantage. Sabathia threw a pitch to the screen that bounced right back to Posada, who tossed to Sabathia and nailed Cruz at the plate for the 3rd out. Kinsler trying to bring Hamilton home here in the 3rd.
Cruz was thrown out at the plate, but you have to be aware when you're on third base against the Yankees. 46 postseason games, Jorge Posada, 9 pass balls.
33 balls and 33 strikes. You do the math. 66 pitches here in the 3rd. To short. Jeter makes the off-balance throw and retires Kinsler. Another opportunity wasted by Texas. We go to the 4th. TBS this November, Lopez Tonight. The comedy continues right after Conan. Don't miss new episodes starting November 8th at midnight. Only on TBS. We move to the top half of the 4th inning. Mark Teixeira leads it off for the Yankees. Think back to game 1 of the ALDS. Yankees and Twins at Target Field in Minneapolis, and the Yankees fell behind 3-0 with Sabathia on the mound in that game. Came back to win it en route to the sweep.
And get CC the win since 1995 when they've trailed by 3 or more runs. They have 14 come from behind wins.
Of course, Mark Teixeira, part of his career with the Texas Rangers, was here from 2003 to 2007. Hit .283 with 153 home runs and 499 runs batted in before he was traded to the Atlanta Braves. Pops up. Elvis Andrus, who was in the trade from Atlanta for Mark Teixeira, makes the play. But when that deal was made, the guy who had some major league experience and you looked at was Jared Saltalamacchia. But look who they got. Neftali Feliz, who's their closer. Elvis Andrus, who's their starting shortstop. Teixeira then went on from Atlanta to the Angels and then to the Yankees. Alex Rodriguez struck out his first time.
For whatever reason, there's always the one guy when someone doesn't have success. He has had no success against C.J. Wilson. Only 1 hit, 14 at bats. But to further that point, Ron, this game really should be about 5 or 6-0. You got to feel like if you're the Rangers, you let some opportunities go by, and you can't keep doing that with a team that you're playing with New York. And they're up 3-0, and obviously if CJ doesn't give up any runs, it doesn't matter. But man, some golden opportunities early on.
You're right. You don't get a lot of chances in the postseason. When you do, you have to score.
Because you're facing a New York Yankee team that led baseball in runs scored, 859 this year, a shade over 5 a game. And you can hear that crescendo of applause here. The count is 1-2. Trying to urge C.J. Wilson into another strikeout of Rodriguez.
Looked like a good pitch inside, but Jerry Davis has not been calling this pitch. And good call by Jerry just off the plate.
Talked about Alex Rodriguez and his years here beginning in 2001 when he signed that 10-year, $252 million contract. Played here for 3 years for the deal to the Yankees. And he has gone down swinging for the 2nd time tonight.
Yeah, it's rare you're playing in a postseason game where both teams are getting paid by the Rangers and New York.
It's good work if you can get it.
You look here again, he's just kept them off balance, moved the ball around, a fastball relatively right down the middle. Maybe he's looking for something off speed. CJ has had his number so far this year.
So with 2 down, here's Robinson Cano. Popped to short his first time. That pop to short was a Blue Star play back in the 2nd by Elvis Andrus, who went into shallow left to make the play. Hardy. Wilson ahead again. 1 ball and 2 strikes.
Right there, he gave him a little different angle, a little sidearm, 2-strike pitch. Got to be impressed with his first impression in the postseason. 10 1/3 scoreless innings so far. A lot of work still to be done, but what a great first start in your postseason.
Look out, even at 2-2. Ron Washington has talked about the fact he thinks Cliff Lee has had a positive influence on Wilson in terms of staying in the zone. Wilson told the media yesterday, yeah, the impact has been profound. Before Cliff Lee got here, I was a right-handed second baseman.
Well, I think the biggest thing that has helped him since Cliff Lee has been here is that he shows him every start, Cliff Lee starts, that you can have success by throwing balls in the strike zone. Good things will happen when you throw strikes. 93 walks this year. As he goes along in his career, that'll get better.
He's walked 1 tonight, has struck out 3, and will deliver a 2-2 to Robinson Cano. That ball is hit right on the screws into center. 2-out single by Cano. Man, can he rake.
I don't know about you, John. I think Cano has a slump-proof swing. Haven't seen him take a bad swing all season long. His MVP type year for the Yankees. And here against a left-hander, it doesn't matter if you're left-handed or right-handed. He just has that perfect swing on plane, rakes that bat through the strike zone, and usually ends up with a bullet.
Now here's the DH, Marcus Timms. Hit the ball hard his first time on a line to left, which ended the second. You see 12 home runs on the year. 7 of those came in a 10-game span this summer.
Boy, you watch the defense in the outfield against Timms. Everyone pulled over. Complete shift to pull for Marcus. Even in the infield, Andrews in the hole.
And what you got to do as a pitcher, you better execute a game plan, because if you let one get out over the plate and they hit one down in the corner, a run is going to score.
His home run the other night came to right center at Yankee Stadium. That ball's hit to left. Cruz over near the line will play it on a hop. And runners are at first and second. So with the Texas Rangers failing to take advantage of opportunities and sitting on that 3-0 lead, you're again in a situation where one swing of the bat changes everything here. 2 on, 2 out for Jorge Posada.
And with that ball hit off the end of the bat from Timms, if they're not played him to pull, that ball could have got in the corner. Nice play by Cruz.
Second straight inning, the Yankees have had 2 on.
You can just sense this crowd. I mean, they're into it, but they're ready to erupt some more. The first inning fireworks for them was outstanding, but they've just been sitting like waiting for that knockout punch, and they're waiting to erupt, and CJ can certainly get them on their feet with a big 2-out pitch here.
That ball's hit to left. Cruz on and makes the play. Wilson gets out of the fourth. Catch all the action of the 2010 Major League Baseball postseason on TBS and Fox. Bottom 4 in Arlington on a perfect night for baseball. Jeff Francoeur leads it off for Texas. Rangers lead it 3-0.
Well, the last couple innings, Ron, he's really been good with that dead fish fastball that he calls a changeup. 85 miles an hour. He's gotten some huge outs with it. Leads off Jeff Francoeur with it. And he's starting to get a little bit more of his touch back. See if he can't keep the Yankees right where they're at.
Francoeur popped a Jeter his first time. His postseason got off on the right foot. He doubled off David Price his first at bat in game 1 of that series. Hasn't had a hit since. But for him, this opportunity in Texas has been a godsend. Pops him up again. This time it'll be Cano. 2 down, or 1 down. It's time to talk. Brought to you by Charles Schwab. And moments ago, we talked to Yankees manager Joe Girardi. First topic, CC Sabathia.
Really unusual for CC, and a lot of it seemed to happen in the first inning. He's starting to settle down a little bit, and he's getting back to what he does. But, you know, we've talked about, you know, a lot of starting pitchers, you have to get to them early, and CC's starting to get back on track, and that's a good thing.
Joe, this is John. Obviously, you don't want to be down 3-0, but you got to feel real good that it could be at least 5 or 6-0. Your team's in it, and you're 1 inning away from getting right back in it.
Yeah, we've had a couple scoring opportunities the last couple innings and a couple hits here and there, and we're right back in this game. And 3 runs is not a lot of runs for this club. I know they have a very good pitching staff, but our club can be very explosive.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks, guys.
Sabathia has now thrown 72 pitches. He's threw 35 pitches in the first inning. That's when the Texas Rangers scored 3 times. The big shot coming from Josh Hamilton, a 3-run homer. But after loading the bases, the Rangers could do no more damage. Trainer just reached out and poked that one foul over first.
Well, Trainer got the start because he caught C.J. Wilson in the second game of the division series and did a nice job. Was hit with a couple of pitches in that game.
And walk. And he walked here in his first at bat in the first. Talked about what C.J. Wilson was saying yesterday in one of the most entertaining pre-game 1 press conferences you will ever see. Talked about going up against C.C. Sabathia. He said, it's not like I have to go up and figure out what he's going to throw me or anything like that. But all I know is his uniform's a lot bigger than mine.
Well, he's settled in now. It's interesting, John, when you have those long layoffs as a pitcher in the postseason, sometimes lose your touch.
The 2-2 to Trainer. And that's looped into right for a base hit. Granderson over the field. Trainer has his first hit of this postseason. And the Rangers have a runner at first with 1 down.
That was a pretty good pitch by CC up and into Trainer. But with 2 strikes, Matt Trainer's always been renowned for a guy that tries to go the other way, shortens up, tries to put the ball in play. Nice hitting there.
Here's the number 9 hitter, Jorge Cantu. Cantu came to the plate in the first as the 9th man to bat against Sabathia. And that's when Posada was able to get the rebound and toss to Sabathia to get Nelson Cruz trying to score from third on a pitch that got away. He then led off to second with a pop out to second. Kind of surprising that he really did not produce for this team. He got off to a great start this year. 17-game hitting streak. And had at least 1 hit and 1 RBI in his first 10 games of the year. That thing almost hit him. That was a baseball record, which had been 8. And I bring this story to you because it's always fun to say the name George High Pockets Kelly, who had the record of 8 before Cantu eclipsed it. He waits on a 1-1. To right, near the line. Swisher over and makes the play. 2 down. Here's Elvis Andrus, the Rangers leadoff hitter. We're in the 4th, and he's batting for the 3rd time. Walked in the first. And grounded to first in the second.
Ron Washington could not be more complimentary when he was talking about the Atlanta Braves farm system and where Andrus came from and how well they taught him the game. And by the time Ron Washington got him in the Texas Rangers, all they had to do is give him the opportunity to play.
Ball and a strike. Had a couple of 14-game hitting streaks. Can handle the bat. And he's got speed. And he's got a glove. And he's 22. What's not to like? Sabathia now at 82 pitches as he works here in the fourth.
You might beat CC Sabathia on certain days, but you're not going to wear him down. He just gets better and better. You know, his 3-day rest number is ridiculous. And this game and these first two games are going to really play a big difference in what Joe Girardi decides to do in his matchup. So we know A.J. Burnett is scheduled game 4, but these first 2 games could change his mind.
Reached out and poked it into center field. First and second.
We saw Andrews at first base smiling because he got a little lucky. Good pitch by CC Sabathia on the outside part. Just stuck the bat out and blocked that ball to right field.
There's a situation now with Michael Young admittedly trying to do too much. They made some changes with his swings. They've gone to the video and determined that they could change something. See if he can be patient here. He was real aggressive on a lot of pitches. See if he can deliver a big 2-out hit and make up for the runs they didn't score earlier in the game.
He singled in the first, took a called third in the second.
For a veteran player that had so many games under his belt before going to the postseason, you knew that he had to be feeling very aggressive when he got to the plate. It worked in game 1. It has not worked since then.
Tried to check, and he did. 1-1. Sabathia pitched 2 complete games this year. One of those was a rain-shortened game against C.J. Wilson in New York. The other was in Oakland in a loss. That's the game that Dallas Braden won. It's the infamous get-off-my-mound game. And that ball is hit to right center field. Swisher over. He won't get there. Randerson corrals it in the gap. And the Rangers have scored twice. You called it, John.
Well, whenever they made an adjustment, this is vintage Michael Young as he goes the other way with a pretty darn good pitch. Clint Hurdle's got to be happy about this. 2 big runs off of CC Sabathia where you felt like he was going to settle down. This is a huge inning for the Texas Rangers.
Michael Young is a gap-to-gap hitter. He has 1 now in left center and 1 in right center. Looks like the problem solved.
This time the opportunity is not wasted. Ron Washington used to be a third base coach. Some things, some habits you can't shake. As he's waving them around from the top step of the Rangers dugout. It's a 5-0 Texas lead. Josh Hamilton takes. It's 1-0. Now to Craig Sager.
Well, AJ, you're talking about the adjustment that hitting coach Clint Hurdle made with Michael Young. They looked at the videotape. They found out that when he was stepping with his left foot, he was opening his body too much. They wanted to keep him square. So far tonight, it's paying off.
To left. And drifting near the line is Brett Gardner. Does he have room? No. Ball kept tailing away from him. And it's 1-1.
Well, it's not a lot of wind, but almost like the wind caught that and carried that out of play. The ball that Jorge Cantu hit in this inning to right field seemed to stay in play. That one did not.
And for the Yankees, Jabba Chamberlain hasn't pitched in a while. Looks like he may be getting up or eating some innings for the Yankees if they can come back in this game. You know, you do what you can. Talking to the Yankees, you do what you can. They had the same situation last year with some days off, but there are just days, Ron, when you get out of sync, it's a little bit more difficult than people just saying, hey, make an adjustment. And for CC, I guarantee you from this point on, he will be that much better given the opportunity to pitch, hopefully one more or maybe 2 more games.
That ball gets away from Posada. He tried to block it.
Well, Posada went out to talk to CC to try to make an adjustment. It did not work. And you see Jorge, that hits right off the heel of his glove. Most catchers try to take that glove out of play because once it hits that heel, it will carry him away.
Runner at third now. 2 out for Josh Hamilton. Did he have a cut? 2-2. His story late in the season well chronicled with the 2 broken ribs after crashing into the wall in Minnesota. Cortisone shots and everything else to get him ready, wearing a flak jacket. Homered in the first, a 3-run shot. Checked his swing. And the count full as Angel Hernandez says he did not go.
Well, that's 2 check swings now for Hamilton. He is so strong. He looked like he was going to go around, but those strong forearms are able to keep the bat back.
And Sabathia gets Hamilton looking to end the 4th. But the Rangers add to their lead. It's 5-0.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Bank of America, official bank of Major League Baseball, and by T-Mobile, helping families stay connected. T-Mobile, the family network.
C.J. Wilson has allowed 3 hits in 4 innings of work, one of them to the guy who leads off here in the 5th, Curtis Granderson. He singled in the 3rd, moved to second on a walk, but was stranded there. What's impressed you the most about Wilson so far through 4?
His ability just to locate and throw strikes, mix it up. He seems like he's been in command. You know, you get the first 3 outs, you don't know what's going to happen. His team responds with 3 runs, and he's been in total control with giving up a couple hits with 2 outs. That's when you want to give up the hits, and he's made big pitches after that.
I think one thing Ron Washington had said as we met with him before the game, when he tries to be too fine is when he gets into some trouble and puts runners on, because he does walk a lot, but he's only walked 1 in this game. He's also hit 10 in the course of the regular season. And he barely or nearly grazed Granderson with that pitch. The 2-2. He held up. Count full.
Boy, Granderson is seeing the ball well. Took 2 pitches right on the corner.
See Brett Gardner, the number 9 hitter, on deck. And there is a leadoff walk in the 5th. It's time to talk, brought to you by Charles Schwab. Moments ago, we had a chance to talk to Ron Washington, the Rangers manager, about the hot start his club got off to tonight.
Well, you know, we wanted to come out, and that's exactly what we wanted to try to do. You don't always get an opportunity on a pitcher of his caliber to do that, but you know, Josh put a good swing on the ball. Elvis got us a walk. Michael got us a base hit, and Josh put us on the board. And from that point, you know, we feel pretty good. CJ went out there, and so far, you know, he's doing exactly what we want him to do, try to hold his powerful lineup down.
How big of an influence has Cliff Cleveland been on C.J. Wilson this year?
Well, he's been a tremendous influence on C.J. You know, like I always say, C.J. have tremendous stuff, and sometimes he can't control it. But, you know, lately he's been pounding the strike zone, using all of his stuff, keeping the ball down. keeping them off balance. And, you know, to this point, to keep a lineup like that down, you got to give CJ a whole lot of credit.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you, guys.
Brett Gardner worked to walk his first time as Wilson throws over to keep Granderson close. The Rangers have the antlers and the claw kind of rallying things here, and the Yankees the ones trying to claw back into this one, trailing 5-0 in the 5th.
Well, we talk about that Cliff Lee influence. Somewhere in that dugout, someone's telling this young pitcher, which every pitcher have ever been in a situation with a 5-run lead, not to mention the playoffs, hey, pitch like it's 1-0. Yeah. Well, easier said than done.
He was ahead 0-2.
And the reason I say it's easier said than done, you go into a postseason game facing CC Sabathia, you're gearing yourself for a 0-0, 1-1, 1-0 game. All of a sudden you get this breathing room. Sometimes you can let down your guard. I don't think it's going to happen here, but you never know, because all of a sudden you're like, hey, I got 5 mistakes. Well, if you start thinking like that, the other team starts creeping back in.
You know, we give Cliff Lee most of the credit because the way he's pitched in the postseason, but after Rangers lost this year, C.J. Wilson had 11 wins, so he really was the stopper of any streaks for these Rangers.
Mike Maddox, the Rangers pitching coach, studying C.J. Wilson, who settles in to deliver an 0-2 pitch to Brett Gardner.
Well, it really starts from the top. The president, Nolan Ryan, has passed down to Mike Maddox what he wants his pitchers to do, wants them to go deeper into games. And they have been doing that since Nolan's been here.
Yeah, Ron Washington saying he brings a presence and a credibility to this club. That's way tight. A ball and 2 strikes, and that influence on the pitching staff, not to be looking over your shoulder, looking for the bullpen to bail you out. And when just the way the Express conducted his business.
And when an icon puts pressure on a pitcher to perform, you usually do it.
Hey, how about the fact that he brought the cheese in the first pitch tonight? I was so impressed with. I knew it was going to be hard, but I didn't expect him to knee high, about 88 miles an hour. The gun said, well, I'm making that part up, but sure looked like cheese.
May have surprised Jim Sundberg just a tad too. Slap to third. Second for 1. Late to first. Tough guy to double. And Gardner beat the rap.
Well, you can't do it any better and you can't do it any quicker, but Brett Gardner, one of the fastest guys in the game. Young gets it off to Kinsler at second base, and a good strong throw to first, and not even close.
Top of the order now, and Derek Jeter with a runner on and 1 down. The captain is 0 for 2. Rounded to third. Flied out to center.
Saw a shot of CC there. Unless these teams score some runs, that could have been the last inning we've seen CC pitch, as they're heated up in the bullpen again. And certainly a disappointing start for CC, but I would reckon to believe he's going to rectify that really quick in his next start.
And by taking him out prematurely as far as the pitch count is concerned, it brings up the chance of him pitching game 4.
Wilson with a long look into Trainer. you see CC's work. Putting up 3 runs in the first inning. And then 2 more in the fourth. The big shot, 3-run homer by Josh Hamilton. Wilson is ahead 1-2 against Jeter. To second, 4, 6. Tonight's pitching comparison is brought to you by Liberty Mutual. CC Sabathia's night is done, John.
Yeah, and if you'd have covered up those 2 pictures and tried to guess whose line scores that would, you'd probably go and say CC's got the one where 5 innings, 3 hits, no runs. But the young pitcher with not a lot of experience has outdueled CC. CC's won 4 opening career postseason starts, but he won't win tonight. And CJ has really been huge for his team.
Our first look in this postseason at Jabba Chamberlain. Did not pitch in the Yankees' 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins. And he faces Vladimir Guerrero to lead it off in the bottom half of the 5th. When this place, between innings, they had those big Texas flags waving and 50,000 standing and singing deep in the heart of Texas and clapping. It's a party here. And they lead it 5-0. Chamberlain appeared in 73 games, tied for number 5 in the American League.
Vladimir Guerrero can take some of the funnier swings you will ever see, but when he came over here, a lot of people thought he was done. The injuries maybe thought they had taken their toll, but he has been outstanding. Not only a leader for the entire team, but especially for some of the younger Latin players on this Rangers team.
Looking for his first hit of the night. Grounds it to third. And Rodriguez throws him out for the first out. What do you say we check in Atlanta with Matt Weiner? Matt.
That sounds like an excellent idea. Ernie, time for a game break presented by Bank of America. Game 2 of the Rangers-Yankees series happens here on TBS at 4 Eastern time. Then game 1 of the NLCS. The Giants and Phillies. Tim Lincecum on the mound against Roy Halladay based on their playoff debuts. Great and greater will go at it in Philly.
All right, thank you very much, Matt. As Nelly Cruz steps in. And for Matt, I have just a little bit of ammo, knowing how the dynamic in the studio and having worked with Eck and Cal and Boomer in the past. Just a little something they might be able to have some fun with before the night is over. As Cruz fouls it off right into the Rangers dugout. The third base coach for the Texas Rangers is Dave Anderson. Back in 1988, an historic home run was hit by Kirk Gibson off of our buddy Eck, and we've talked about that before. But the guy who was in the on-deck circle but not announced was Dave Anderson, and then Kirk Gibson came up and, as I recall, hit one off of Eck. But I say that with all the respect in the world, and we have never brought that up again, obviously, in the studio.
Sure you haven't.
No. 22 years ago tonight, I'm told, by Hal Galema. So I think they were probably already planning something back in the studio in Atlanta. Here's a ball and 2 strikes to Nelson Cruz, who takes high and away 2-2.
You know, when you think of this Rangers team, you think of Vladimir Guerrero, Josh Hamilton, Michael Young, You don't always hear about Nelson Cruz, and this is going to be a postseason to watch how talented and strong this right-handed hitter is. 3 home runs in the division series against the Rays.
The count full to the number 5 hitter in the Texas lineup. He was limited this year. He had some hamstring problems. Played 108 games. Was on the DL 3 times because of the hammy. And really came through in extra innings. This guy hit 5 extra inning home runs. Nobody else in baseball had more than 2. And he draws a walk here in the 5th. It's game 1 of the American League Championship Series here on TBS. Ernie Johnson and John Smoltz and Ron Darling, thanks for being with us tonight. And if you are just joining us, I know Friday nights are busy. Some of you out at high school football games and that kind of thing. And you've missed the Texas Rangers with a first inning explosion highlighted by a 3-run homer by Josh Hamilton. They added 2 more in the 4th off of C.C. Sabathia, who lasted 4 innings here in game 1. Jabba Chamberlain on in relief here in the 5th.
And I think you'll see the Rangers here try to get those antlers going against the left-hander Sabathia. You have to be a little cautious on first base. They will start the running game even with Nelson Cruz, who had 17 stolen bases during the regular season.
Kinsler's 0 for 1 with a walk.
Well, I don't envy Jabba's situation. He hasn't pitched in a long time. He has all the talent in the world. He's been tossed around back and forth. The story has been well documented, and he finds himself in a position he probably would have never guessed in the beginning of the year. They've added depth with Kerry Wood, and it was only supposed to be double trouble with Kerry Wood and Jabba doing what they're doing. But hopefully, as they reset his situation and reevaluate, he'll have a more controlled role than he's had the first 3 years. Identity, I don't think he knows what his identity is at this point, and that's tough for a young pitcher.
You know what happens a lot of times in a bullpen, the pecking order can change sometimes, and Dave Robertson has moved ahead of Jabba at this point.
Chamberlain 6'2", 230. He's 25 years old. And he's working here in the 5th to center field. Granderson took a step in and then a couple back. 2 down. And Ron Washington is going to go to his bench. A left-hand hitting David Murphy will hit for Jeff Francoeur.
Another one of those deals that worked for John Daniels and the Rangers. Murphy came over from Boston when the Rangers sent Eric Gagne late in the year to the Red Sox.
He hit .291. Played his college ball near here in Waco at Baylor. Has a lot of family in Houston. There was a big ask for tickets. Family and friends down there. It's one of the toughest things about being in the postseason, is trying to satisfy everybody who wants to be there to watch you play.
Yeah, the general rule is you can't give them away in the regular season sometimes, and then you can't get enough in the postseason. All of a sudden, they come out of the woodworks.
So many close friends you didn't know you had. Fouled off again over there by the Rangers dugout. And quickly Chamberlain has Murphy in an 0-2 hole. Dustin Mosley getting loose in the New York pen.
And Rangers have had an unfamiliar situation. Normally they don't get the front page news. You know, there's a team right across the street here, the Dallas Cowboys, getting all the news. Well, not these last couple days. They've enjoyed the, as you see the crowd showing up, everyone's talking about the Rangers.
I mean, you'd have to consider this their greatest season ever. The ability to win their first postseason series.
There's the small confines of Cowboy Stadium.
Yeah, we were in there for the NBA All-Star game with about 8 billion people.
Did you feel claustrophobic?
I felt like a speck. The place is absolutely massive inside. You talk about the greatest season, and Ron Washington, the wins have gone up in each of the 4 years he's been here. 75, 79, 87, 90. Nolan Ryan had said back in February he thought this team could win 92 games. They came too shy of that, but here they are in the ALCS. Murphy staying alive. He's reached 4 times this year on catcher's interference. A lot of times that happening with 2 strikes. As he says, his swing gets a little longer. He's trying to spoil pitchers' pitches. And other times, combined with that, as his swing gets a little longer, runners have been going, catchers have been reaching, and he's tipped the mitt and reached 4 times. It's a ball and 2 strikes.
And to your point, Ernie, what they were known for in the past was hitting home runs and striking out a lot. And, you know, this is their lowest strikeout total and their lowest home run total in quite some time. And it just happens to be along the theories in their pitching. We're going to win. And Nolan Ryan says we can win differently in this ballpark.
And a lot of credit has to go to Clint Hurdle. Ron Washington was saying, as a former manager, Hurdle's able to meet the expectations of what he wanted the offense to do, to get them to execute better, especially with 2 strikes.
See the Rangers in the offensive departments first in batting average in 2010. Java is incurring the wrath of 50,000 here in Arlington.
Well, Ron Washington was a coach on the staff of Clint Hurdle when he was the manager of Tidewater. Favor repaid.
To left, and Brett Gardner barely has to move. That'll do it for the Rangers in the 5th. They are shutting out the Yankees. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is presented by Capital One Venture Card. We move to the top half of the 6th inning. This was the big inning in game 1 of the ALDS for the Yankees when they erased a 3-0 Minnesota lead by scoring 4 times. Tonight they trail 5-0. And you see the defensive changes. And Nelson Cruz, who is now in right, gets a chance immediately from Nick Swisher. 1 down. Let's take a look at the Travelers mid-game recap. First inning, a bullet to right by Josh Hamilton, 3-run shot. And then it was Michael Young delivering to the gap. 2-run double and a little claw for the guys in the dugout. It is 5-0, and here's Mark Teixeira. Teixeira 0 for 2. Rounded to third, popped to short. Top 4 hitters in the Yankee lineup tonight, 0 for 10. Made him skip at the plate.
And a big reason for that, you look at the pitch tracks, a lot of the pitches are around that blue box for C.J. Wilson, where we've never seen CC Sabathia have so many balls and dots outside of that box, which really led to always being in trouble. CJ's been in command. He's thrown the ball where the hitters
looks enticing, but he's making pitches and they're not really squaring too many balls up.
C.J. Wilson having a Cliff Lee kind of game. Plenty of strikes.
Three and one to Mark Teixeira. Alex Rodriguez, strikeout victim his first 2 times, waits on deck. $50,000 thought they had a strikeout. Just did get a piece. Fly ball to right. Cruz drifts back. 2 up and 2 down, both of the same guy in the 6th. So Alex Rodriguez steps in. We take you back to April 2nd, 2003, and career home run number 300. And it was August 4th of this year that number 600 right into Monument Park. The youngest player to hit the 600 home run mark in his career. And he taps it right back to Wilson. Easy inning for the Ranger left-hander.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility, what's your policy? And by BlackBerry.
Bottom half of the 6th in Arlington. And in a 5-0 game, the Yankees going to their 3rd pitcher, Dustin Mosley. He faces Matt Traynor. Throws him a strike, 0-1.
With this deficit, it's almost like the guys that have not pitched for the Yankees trying to get them an inning.
We did a Sunday MLB game here in this ballpark as Traynor flies to center. It was Cliff Lee against Dustin Mosley who acquitted himself really well. It was a real duel, which eventually was won by Lee. But Mosley's a guy who's had some injuries in the past. He's had surgery on his pitching arm, and he also had hip surgery. And that was in August of '09. And he was rehabbing in Texarkana, Texas, and was really concerned because the hip was feeling worse than it was feeling better. Then he started running around the high school track and said, you know what, this feels pretty good. And the more he did that, the looser it got and the better it got. And it was really, if you want to trace the turning point to his rehab, it was on a high school track in Texarkana. He faces Jorge Cantu, the number 9 hitter, in the Texas lineup. He's 0 for 2.
9 starts for Mosley this season, 7 relief appearances. You were mentioning Cantu before. I think anybody in baseball, when that trade was made from the Marlins to Texas, thought that was a great trade for the Rangers. Did not pay dividends during the regular season, but maybe the postseason will prove a better time for Jorge.
You know, he started game 1 of the ALDS against Tampa Bay and went 0 for 4 and did not start another game in that series. He starts game 1 against CC Sabathia at first. Sabathia long gone now as we play in the 6th. He only lasted 4.
This
It's living proof you can't take anything for granted. If you're Dustin Mosley, you can't even imagine pitching in the first game of ALDS with CC on the mound, but you got to be ready, and here he is trying to hold the fort down for New York.
To third. And Rodriguez can't handle it.
Well, you couldn't get a better game for these fans here with A-Rod. This ball comes up a little at the end. It really handcuffs him. He tried to get in front of the ball, but you can see this bounce. Handcuffs him. The little topspin got through the wickets, and an error on Alex.
Rarely has an E5 been enjoyed more by so many.
There's been a lot of errors around baseball in this postseason. That was the first one by the New York Yankees.
They committed only 69 in the regular season. Best in baseball. Top of that Texas order now with Elvis Andrus. Has scored 2 of the Rangers' 5 runs out of that leadoff spot. Cantu leads from first, and Andrus takes as we check in again with Craig Sager.
Well, AJ, you mentioned earlier that Ron Washington credited the Atlanta Braves with getting Elvis Andrus ready for the major leagues. A native of Venezuela, one of the first things he had to do is learn the language. He learned English by listening to country western music. Toby Keith was his favorite artist. And he would often answer questions after a game when he was with the Rome Braves by, "How do you like me now?" And then his other favorite song, maybe perhaps foreshadowing, "I should have been a cowboy riding shotgun for the Texas Rangers."
Not to mention, I love this bar. And he takes a called third. The wait, folks, is almost over. The NBA season tips off with the revamped Miami Heat. Revamped, one word to describe them, visiting the Boston Celtics, and the LA Lakers receiving their championship rings before taking on the Houston Rockets. The NBA returns October 26th only on TNT.
Who'd they get? I've been busy. Who'd they get?
A couple of guys who might complement that roster a little bit.
So they're supposed to be pretty good then.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, we'll see.
A runner on. 2 down here in the 6th. Mosley facing Michael Young. He came up huge his last time. 2-run double in the 4th.
Well, if you're wondering why these hitters are taking those fastballs, it's a really good sinker. I mean, it starts outside the plate and comes back over the plate late. And for Mosley to be effective, he has to have that sinker look exactly the way it is to the hitters.
It's always interesting to see a guy that had more starts and relief appearances. When he does come in relief, they usually, as a starter, have 3 or 4 pitches. They come in relief. Usually they just go with 2. It looks like that's what Mosley's doing. Fastball, that sinker John was talking about, and the good hard slider.
He's ahead of Young, 0-2. Cantu, who reached on an error, leads from first. And that was well done by Dustin Mosley. Strikes out 2 in the 6th. Top half of the 7th inning in Game 1 of the American League Championship Series. 19 of 22 first pitches have been fastballs, and 15 of those for strikes from C.J. Wilson, who is shutting out the reigning world champions, the Yankees.
And frustrating them also. You usually don't see the Yankees when they're down a few runs swinging at first pitch strikes. That ball up in the strike zone.
Cano was 1 out of 2. Andrus made a nice play on him in shallow left his first time. He singled in the 4th. This is pitch number 86. And it's down the line and right near that pole. And that ball is gone. Robinson Cano has connected here in the 7th.
Well, Cano with an MVP type season. We described that it doesn't matter left side or right side as far as the pitching concerned. 13 home runs in the regular season against left-handed pitching, and just a line shot that he wraps around the foul pole.
And only the first he's given up against left-handers, and the first run he's given up in 12 1/3 innings.
So the shutout gone as Marcus Timms steps in. It's a 5-1 game. We're in the 7th. Timms right off the thumbs. 0-2. It has been a while since somebody from the left side took him deep. Kim-Soo Choo of the Indians. Breaking pitch missed. A ball and 2 strikes.
You look at this pitch, a good try to try and get him to bite on a backdoor curveball. But definitely a ball.
To short. Andrews to 52, 1 down.
Well, from the close calls at home in the first inning, Jerry Davis has been spot on today.
Sports fans, listen to what Cal Ripken, Howie Long, and some of the biggest names in sports have to say about today's hot topics in sports. Check out Behind the Mic, presented by Allstate, exclusively on SI.com. Here's Jorge Posada, who's 0 for 2. Ground out and a line out to left. So the Yankees scoreless through 6. Get the solo homer from Robinson Cano. They trail by 4. 1 out in the 7th. Posada comes up empty.
If you're looking for a body language or something that could give a pitcher to a hitter away, you're not seeing it from C.J. Wilson. Everything has been in command. He showed a little emotion, pounded his glove when he gave up the home run. He goes right back to the things that he's doing all game, and that's commanding his pitches. You know, even between innings, it's a long time in between innings. He seems comfortable. He doesn't rush anything. It feels like this is where I want to be, waiting for the hitter to step in and then doing his job.
Posada punched out for the 2nd out.
Well, right-handed hitters now 1 for 18. We talked about the left-handed dominance that he had on left-handed hitters, but he's shutting down the right-handed hitters with the left-handers being 3 for 5.
And one of those, Curtis Granderson, who singled in the 3rd. He also walked in the 5th. Granderson now with 6 hits in 4 postseason games in 2010. Bounced it up there, ball and a strike. '29-year-old C.J. Wilson. Right back to him. It's time to stretch in Arlington. We head to the bottom half of the 7th inning in Arlington. The Rangers leading 5-1. Ernie Johnson and John Smoltz and Ron Darling at your service. Here, game 1 of the ALCS. C.J. Wilson in complete control and an early strike offense by the Texas Rangers.
Well, they've been outstanding. I mean, that's what they needed against CC Sabathia, is to get a big inning, especially early. And that 3-run home run by Hamilton was just the medicine that they needed against the talented lefty.
Hamilton leads it off here in the bottom half of the 7th. And John, I know that seeing Nolan Ryan bringing the heat wins this game before it was started, I know is something you would like to see again. We are trying to get that in this half inning. Glenn Diamond, our producer, promises that is really a priority. That ball is grounded down the line, but foul. And Glenn has produced this moment.
Look at this. I mean, he's walking out. Don't know what you're going to get. You know it's an exciting time, and he gives you everything, and then bam, right on you. Loved it.
It's maybe the first time in history that a ceremonial first pitch was described as filthy. Nolan Ryan bringing it to Jim Sundberg. And even Nolan Ryan getting the kick out of it as he checks out the monitor downstairs. Let's go to Craig Sager.
Well, Jim Sundberg is one of the greatest catchers defensively in Major League Baseball history. He has 6 gold gloves, but I think he was more nervous than Nolan Ryan. When they talked about doing the ceremonial first pitch, they told Nolan that he could stand on flat ground in front of the mound. He goes, hey, I want none of that. I want 60 feet, 6 inches. And when he threw that ball, Sundberg goes, thanks for not crossing me up.
Josh Hamilton is caught looking to lead off the 7th. That's 3 straight strikeouts for Dustin Mosley.
Well, again, you're looking at a hitter. This ball's inside, and it comes back. You see the little left tail of the pitch tracks there, and it's just really good sinker that's kept these hitters for his last 3 strikeouts. Impressive.
Joe Girardi's Yankees trailing 5-1, bottom half of the 7th. Mosley to Guerrero.
This will be a little tougher test because Vlad can hit it off his shoe tops. Doesn't matter how much it's sinking.
In fact, he'd prefer it there.
That's right.
Hit hard, 1 hopper, and Derek Jeter will throw him out. Here is tonight's John Hancock leaderboard. And you see the Rangers hitting .288 in this ballpark at the top of the charts, and the Yankees hit .279 in their yard.
I know statistics show home field advantage doesn't have as great of an advantage as you would think, but I'll tell you what, when you're the Texas Rangers, or for that matter any ball club, you want home field advantage, and that statistic right there helps when you feel comfortable hitting in your ballpark.
Rangers hit .276 overall, which was the best in baseball, and that .288 mark at home, second in baseball and first in the American League. As that pitch is fouled off. The splits for Nelly Cruz. .371 here at Rangers Ballpark in Arlington, which is jam-packed for game 1 of the ALCS.
I think that's the one thing about the Rangers, why this is, if not their best team, one of their best teams, because they can beat you in so many different ways. They've done it with slugging and pitching tonight. There's been many games they've done it with their base running and relief pitching. Last year, 42% of their runs came via the home run. Only 32% this year, so it shows how more well-rounded this offense is for Ron Washington.
We already talked about Nolan Ryan's influence, but Mike Maddox has done a great job coming from Milwaukee and establishing the idea that, guys, we can pitch in this ballpark, and this is how we're going to do it. We're going to throw strikes, Going to mix and match. They got some power arms in the bullpen that they can bring in.
Cruz fouls it back. He went 1 out of 2 against Sabathia tonight. Singled in the first, was thrown out at the plate trying to score on a ball that got away and bounced right back to Posada. And at the time, it was the first of a few missed opportunities for the Rangers, who were leading 3-0. But they did score 2 in the 4th. And Cruz goes down swinging. Dustin Mosley, how do you do? TBS this November, welcome to college. For these 4 freshmen, the rush is on. Don't miss the series premiere of Glory Days, November 16th at 10, 9 Central, only on TBS.
I was holding on that play.
Oh, good eye. Yeah, high school football mighty big in the state of Texas.
Speaking of mighty big, this inning's mighty big for C.J. Wilson, the influence of Cliff Lee. Not many guys would come out to the 8th inning. They'd say, hey, job well done. Got you through 7. He's out here looking to finish the deal, at least pitch deeper into the game.
And he jumps ahead of Brett Gardner, 0-2. He's at the 100-pitch mark. Gardner wouldn't fish. A ball and 2 strikes. The Darrens are up in the Texas bullpen. The left-hander, Darren Oliver, the right-hander, Darren O'Day. Or as Darren O'Day said yesterday, he said, well, you know, there's the good-looking Darren and the homely Darren. Which Darren Oliver did not appreciate. And look at that hustle play by Brett Gardner. That speed at the bottom of that New York lineup. The head-first slide and the leadoff hitter on here in the 8th.
Well, Cantu has played a lot of third base, and first base here, he's so far off that he's not able to get to the bag himself, and Gardner just has such great speed. You see the reaction from C.J. Wilson, just a half-second too late. And by the time he gets over there, no chance with that speed and the daring play by Gardner.
Well, one thing you got to do is get him the ball a little bit sooner, too, as the first baseman. He just waited just a little too long, and lucky for Mr. Gardner, he didn't get his hand stepped on.
So he is on to lead off the 8th in a 5-1 game. Top of the order now for the Yankees and Derek Jeter. He's 0 for 3. He's reached safely in 19 straight postseason games.
Well, coming into this game today, Jeter well over 400 against left-handed pitching in his postseason career. 22 double plays he hit into, though, this season.
And he hit into one in the 5th to end the inning. Wilson looks at Gardner, and now comes to Jeter. That ball well hit, fair ball, into the corner and left. Gardner is around third as the ball gets away from Murphy, and the Yankees are down 5-2.
You can't hold these Yankees down. Just keeps that ball fair inside the line at inside the third base line. David Murphy, who came in to pinch hit for Jeff Francoeur, had a little trouble there in left field. But that double by Jeter down the line. Tried to get C.J. Wilson through another inning. Didn't happen.
You see the carom that ball took off the wall. And Murphy had to retrieve it. And listen to this ovation for C.J. Wilson. And while we have a moment, we step away to Atlanta. Matt Weiner.
All right, Ernie, time for a Bank of America game break. And tomorrow here on TBS, Colby Lewis will try to follow up on C.J. Wilson's start. He pitched 5 scoreless in Game 3 of the ALDS. He'll be opposed by fellow right-hander Phil Hughes, who had the clincher for the Yankees against the Twins. That's tomorrow, Game 2, Yanks-Rangers.
Back here in Arlington, top half of the 8th inning. And the New York Yankees taking advantage. I mean, you cannot overstate that play by Brett Gardner to lead off the inning. On the grounder to first and the head-first slide. And then Derek Jeter with the run-scoring double to make it a 5-2 game as Darren Oliver's come on in relief.
Well, Oliver's going to continue to pitch against. They want Swisher and Teixeira to hit from the right side. He is going to face the 2 switch hitters. And the one thing you get from the Yankees is just an outstanding job, again, by the bottom of their lineup, able to get on, hustle plays, to set up the big inning for the middle of the order hitters.
So Jeter at second after the run-scoring double. Nick Swisher at the plate. And the veteran Darren Oliver, 40 years old, on in relief of C.J. Wilson.
And at this point of the game, you'll trade outs for that run. What you start doing is you start thinking a little negatively. Oh, 2-run homer, that brings them within 1 run. You start thinking of all the things that can happen. So when you get outs, it starts making you feel a little bit better because they just want to get to the 9th inning with the lead.
Ran it inside and missed. A ball and a strike. Oliver turned 40 earlier this month. In fact, it was October 6th when he pitched in Game 1 of the ALDS against Tampa Bay on his birthday. He's taken too long for Swisher. Back when these teams met in 1996, Darren Oliver was in the starting rotation. Started Game 3 of that series against the Yankees. Back to the 1997 ALDS. And they trailed 6-1 and won 8-6. They were down 5-0 in this one. What had been a carefree atmosphere in this ballpark has turned suddenly tense.
Good discipline at the plate by Swisher. Those are 2 pretty tough pitches to lay off of. If you're aggressive and you want to make something happen, that's what Darren Oliver was trying to feed off of the aggressiveness of the hitter, and he didn't bite.
The 3-1 caught the corner, count full.
Well, hitters count, but good pitch there by Oliver. Just caught the corner. Oliver's strength now at 40 years old is that he can throw any pitch at any time in the count. The curveball there, 3-2. Can turn the ball over, has a good cutter.
Runners at first and second with nobody out. And look who stands at the plate representing the tying run. The former Ranger Mark Teixeira. Teixeira 0 for 3.
Saw Dave Anderson moving Michael Young closer to the line at third base.
Takes a strike 0-1. Teixeira came up huge in game 1 of the ALDS against Minnesota.
A little hanging slider here from Jesse Crane, the right-hander. Extended that lead for the Yankees in that game.
With Darren Oliver here, you just got to trust and make believe you're going to get a ground ball. Right now, get a ground ball, turn 2, reset the momentum to your team's favor.
Almost nipped him inside. 2 balls and a strike.
When you have not won a home postseason game in your ballpark, not only do the fans get tense, the players get tense.
C.J. Wilson can really stand to watch. Full count. They are loaded.
Well, you look at the pitch sequence. He starts off with a great pitch and then is never able to really locate his fastball and gets behind in the count, puts a lot of pressure on this 3-1 pitch, makes it, gets a foul ball, and then just leaves it outside. And now we're going to get a pitching change and hope that O'Day can quiet the Yankees.
Well, Darren Oliver comes on. A left-hander out of the pen, gets those 2 switch hitters to turn around and hit right-handed. He walks them both. We'll be back. We welcome you back to Arlington. Yankees manager Joe Girardi calls it one of the signature wins for his Yankees this year, and it came in this ballpark against the Texas Rangers when they were down 5 and rallied back. You saw Marcus Timms go deep, hit for Derek Jeter. And then Timms drove in Brett Gardner for the go-ahead run in a 7-6 lead, and Mariano Rivera got Vlad to ground out to end the game. That was on August 11th, and they rallied to win it 7-6. Here in game 1 of the ALCS. Once a comfortable 5-0 lead for the Rangers. Now it's 5-2. And with nobody out in the 8th, the bases are loaded. What a spot to come in for Darren O'Day.
Well, another great pickup for the Texas Rangers from the waiver wire. Darren O'Day, the side armor, has been outstanding in his 72 games of work during the regular season. He is in to get a ground ball.
This is where you've got to focus on every positive thought you can have right now. Coming in saying, okay, I don't have to keep him from scoring. I just got to keep that guy from scoring. I've got to get outs. And this is the only guy that matters right now for Darren O'Day. Pop up, ground out, sac fly, you don't care.
Jeter, Swisher, and Teixeira the runners. Rodriguez is 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts. That ball hit like a bullet past Michael Young. That'll score Jeter. Here comes Swisher. It's a one-run game.
Well, nothing has gone right since Washington has gone to the pen, and there's no chance for Michael Young. Tried to kind of olay it on the side and just get this tough hop, but the ball was hit 100 miles an hour past Young, and 2 runs, and what a reaction, of course, for the Yankees.
Ron Washington is getting a lot of walking in this inning. Darren O'Day throws 1 pitch, and it's a 1-run game. It's game 1 of the American League Championship Series, and the Texas Rangers once led 5-0, and the New York Yankees have closed it to 5-4 with a single run in the 7th and 3 more here in the 8th, and there's nobody out as Clay Rapata becomes the 4th Ranger pitcher of the inning.
Yeah, and he's in here to do one thing and one thing only. Get Cano out. He's a left-handed specialist. Rare you see 2 pitchers come in that throw from opposite sides, sidearm. But that's what we've seen today.
Ron Washington has added 2 left-handers to his pitching staff who were not on the roster for the first round, in Clay Rapata and Michael Kirkman, trying to get as many lefties in there against this New York lineup. And specifically, as he told us before the game, for situations like this, to get Robinson Cano out. Cano bats with runners at 1st and 2nd and nobody out. He homered his last time for the first New York run. The tying run is at 2nd. Rodriguez at 1st after his 2-run single. Right back up the middle. This is going to tie the game. Teixeira scores. Rodriguez to 3rd. It's 5-5.
Well, first pitch hitting, that's what you want to do when a new pitcher comes in. Jumped all over that fastball up in the strike zone, and another bullet off the bat of a Yankee hitter. Hamilton errs in the field, allows Rodriguez to go to 3rd base, and the tying run scored by Teixeira.
As you point out, Ron, E8 allowing Rodriguez to go to 3rd. Ron Washington is seeing way too much of the field here in the 8th. What an inning by the New York Yankees. They've scored 4 times to tie the score, and the go-ahead run 90 feet away. We welcome you back to Arlington, Texas. We talked about it in the first series against the Minnesota Twins, guys, the fact that the New York Yankees never panic. They never panic. They were down 5-0 in this game, and right now are about to take control of it here in the 8th.
When's the last time you saw 2 relief pitchers come in and only throw 1 pitch and get taken out of the ball game? They just have a lineup that has so much depth that when they get deep in these games, late in the games, they seem to outscore the teams every single time.
And credit, you never think you have to give credit to the middle guys that came in the game. Mosley did a great job and kept the team right there, which you would take for granted, because in this inning, everything that could go wrong for Texas did. We said in the beginning, it's a huge inning. because of what you know the Yankees can do. And so far for Texas, not only have they not gotten an out, they've had all the air sucked out of the stadium saying, no, 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 not this.
This is the 11th postseason game between these two teams. From the 7th inning on, the Yankees have outscored the Rangers 15-0.
Well, the only Achilles heel coming into this game for the Texas Rangers in the postseason has been their struggle from their bullpen. Their ERA was 5.27 against the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, the left-hander Derek Holland on now to face the right-hand hitting Marcus Timms. This place is in a state of shock. Go-ahead run at third. Well, Holland's thrown a pitch and he's still in there. Ran it inside and missed. A ball and a strike. Timms is 1 out of 3. Singled in the 4th. Yankees were scoreless through 6. Cano homered in the 7th, a solo. 4 runs here in the 8th to tie it. Still nobody out.
Well, if you're the Yankees, with all this momentum you got going, Timms really needs to put the ball in play. Keep it going anywhere but third base. I know they're playing halfway in the infield. A-Rod doesn't run particularly well. But there's some indecision whether or not they'll turn 2 or try to come home in a 5-5 tie.
Foul pass first.
A-Rod is getting a very aggressive lead at third base with no outs, knowing that the contact, he is gumming home to force a play or see if the Rangers return to. Ron, you got to think you got to try to throw something at his feet down in the dirt, see if you can get a strikeout.
He did just that.
A nice play by Matt Trainer. That's the risk when you try to bounce one.
Ron Washington had said when discussing his choice of Trainer to start tonight, he likes the way he handles the ball in the dirt.
He's very quick, very agile to keep that ball in front of him.
Shattered his bat, and the Yankees have the lead.
What you say, John? Keep the train moving.
He did what he had to do. He made contact. The pitcher made a great pitch, sawed him off, and can't even describe right here the feeling when things are going right. He knew it right away, too.
Marcus Timms delivers the go-ahead run on a broken bat single to left. Timms, a guy who did spend some time in Texas, traded for Ruben Sierra back in 2003. Haunts his old team. And here's Posada. Still nobody out. And it all started with that hustle play by Brett Gardner, the number 9 hitter, diving headlong into first on a grounder to first.
Well, the great slide, the hustle play to first base, just beating the foot of C.J. Wilson at first base. And then after that, really the 2 walks by Darren Oliver, who came into the game, really have propelled this inning.
What's amazing about the postseason, as we've said over and over again, stuff like that is a rally. I mean, it's amazing how many times you think, okay, no big deal, guy on first, then a hit, all right, no big deal, and the hits have not stopped. Now it's a huge deal.
Three balls and a strike.
Like Yankees baseball, this offense kind of wears you out after a while. They scored 4 or more runs 52 times this season. That's #1 in the majors.
Posada can look for his. Ahead in the count, 3-1 with 2 on and nobody out. Posada, the 8th Yankee to bat in the inning. 5 have scored. Fly ball right field. Drifting back goes Cruz at the wall, makes the play. Cano will tag and move to third.
What an at bat by Posada. Nice catch by Cruz. This is a part of the ballpark where the ball will really carry. Finally gets on it, bangs into that wall, but nice base running by Cano to get to third base.
Where a fly ball will get him home with the 7th New York run if Curtis Granderson can deliver.
Well, tough situation for the Rangers. You really can't turn 2 on Granderson unless he hits a 1-hopper to the middle of the infield. You're looking for a strikeout if you can get it from your pitcher.
Granderson cut right through it. 0-1.
Well, Texas must feel like they have enough firepower late in the game. I don't know how you can think that with Rivera looming in the pen. Think that with Granderson up, you might want to pull all your infielders in. Try to keep this at a 1-run deficit.
Missed with the 0-1. Grounded into double plays only 3 times in the regular season. And once in the Minnesota series. Curtis Granderson. The 1-1.
Well, that pitch right there, if he can keep it over the middle of the plate, make it look like a strike. The way that breaks, that's how he's going to get the strikeout. You can either go up with a fastball or go right back with that seam if he can get him to bite on that pitch. Awfully sharp breaking ball.
Huge spot for 24-year-old Derek Holland. The 5th pitcher of the inning for the Rangers.
Well, the intensity is just raised, but this is a pretty good call by Jerry Davis.
The problem was that Jerry Davis raised up a bit like he was going to call it a third strike and then decided not to.
3-2. He got him. Huge strikeout for Derek Holland for the second out here in the 8th. Here is Brett Gardner, who started the inning just like this.
Just a little ground ball. Looked like it was going to be an easy out, but just great athletic talent and speed starts this inning for the Yankees.
And he scored the first of 5 Yankee runs in this inning. He bats with runners on the corners.
You might think it's not a great play, but Gardner's not averse to bunting with 2 strikes for a hit.
Michael Young at the edge of the grass at third. Holland painted the corner, and it's 1-1. The Texas lead gone here in the 8th. Derek Holland trying to keep the deficit 1. That guy was brilliant through 7. C.J. Wilson has watched the bullpen implode. To short. Andrews got to hurry. Got him by a half a step. But did the New York Yankees do some damage in the 8th inning? I'll say 5-run score. They lead at 6-5. Bottom half of the 8th inning in Arlington. Do not adjust your sets. Yeah, it was 5-0 at one point, but now the Yankees lead at 6-5, and Kerry Wood is on. Saw him 3 times in the ALDS and at varying degrees of effectiveness.
For those 3 appearances, he had 1 clean inning, but the other 2 are kind of shaky, especially with his control.
He faces Ian Kinsler leading off the bottom half of the 8th. Misses with his first 2.
One of the things you got to do if you're the Rangers, you got to reset your mind. You know, if you thought coming into this game you'd be down 1 run in the 8th inning, you'd take it, but not the way it happened. And now all of a sudden that mojo's got to turn in your favor. Nothing would be greater to come back for the Texas Rangers in this inning right away to reset their minds. Because they know what's, sorry, Ernie, they know what's looming in the night.
Guy who wears number 42. A 4-pitch walk to start the 8th to Ian Kinsler. Well, here's David Murphy, who pinch hit earlier for Jeff Francoeur. Stayed in the game to play left field. He flied out to left in that pinch hitting appearance.
I'd like to see how aggressive Ron Washington's going to be here and see if he can take advantage of what we've been talking about. The Yankees giving up a lot of stolen bases this year.
A-Rod's been into third base trying to take away the bunt. Looks like Murphy's swinging away.
And there's a strike after 5 straight balls, 1-1.
Boy, he really got that pitch. That ball was Looked like it was a little outside. Nice job by Posada framing that fastball from Wood.
That's Ian Kinsler away from first. Murphy wants time. Him off. Kinsler will be tagged by Derek Jeter. Oh my.
Well, we talked about the aggressiveness, and here Kinsler was taking off on the pitch to try to steal that base. They've been aggressive all season long. Were they going to be intelligent and aggressive in this series? Bad play there by Kinsler.
2-3-6 on the putout. 1-3-6, excuse me, and for the New York Yankees after a lead-off walk in the 8th. Boy, Kerry Wood needed that.
Just cannot let those little mistakes happen at this time in the season. You appreciate the aggressiveness, but cannot get picked off, especially with the way that the Yankees' inability to throw out base runners. You don't even have to get the greatest jump.
Murphy waiting on a 2-1. How big a play like that is for a guy coming out of the pen after you've gotten a shaky start with the base on balls. You get the pick off, and now you got a chance to get your second out.
I'm telling you, it just resets everything. You might not, you might internally know, I don't know where I'm throwing my fastball. Well, get a pick off like that, feels good again.
Let's take another look at it.
Well, not a special move over there. Nice quick snap move by Wood, but really just trying to time Kerry Wood going to the plate. Just a mistake by Kinsler, and a good run down there by Teixeira and Jeter.
Mariano Rivera preparing for duty. We're in the 8th. Murphy hanging tough. 3 balls and 2 strikes. He just reached out, spoiled that, and it stays 3-2.
Well, he's predominantly staying away. If there was ever a time that he wanted to get aggressive with a breaking ball in a defensive mode, he might get Murphy to swing over the top of it, but most of the calls that he has been making is fastball away.
Another payoff to first. Teixeira will take it himself. 2 down. Let us take a look at tonight's Nissan game summary. The Yankees with CC Sabathia on the hill, falling behind in the first. Josh Hamilton rifled a 3-run homer over the wall. Rangers would lead it 5-0. But look at that 5 in the 8th as the Yankees bat around. And the Texas Ranger bullpen absolutely unable to get it done tonight.
With so many things, good things happening for the Rangers in this ball game. The things you're going to remember are the bullpen, like you mentioned, Ernie, And you're also going to remember the base running gaffes by not only Kinsler there getting picked off, but Cruz in the first inning with the bases loaded, getting thrown out at home.
And Dave Island out to talk to Kerry Wood as Julio Bourbon has already been announced as a pinch hitter for Matt Trainer.
Well, this is the play in the first inning we mentioned with Nelson Cruz. Ball all the way back to the backstop. Comes right back to Posada. And nice tag by Sabathia. Just got him on the left arm before his foot got on the plate.
And especially from that first angle, it looked like there's no way they got him. But then when you look at it from the others, the high tag did beat Cruz's slide to the plate. And that kept it a 3-0 game at that point. And that's a great shot from our guys in the truck. Bourbon has everybody in a Yankee uniform playing in. And now they back up with 2 strikes.
Well, you know a guy has great speed when even the middle infielders are playing 3 or 4 steps in, almost like they're at double play depth.
Just did get a piece. It stays 0-2. The reason they were all in, 17 bunt hits this year for Bourbon. Another one of those Rangers who can really help you with the speed game. A ball and 2 strikes. Gary Wood walked the first man he saw, Ian Kinsler, on 4 pitches, then picked him off. Murphy grounded out. And Julio Bourbon stays alive, 1-2. Got him. The New York Yankees with a 6-5 lead as we go to the 9th. This American League Championship Series coverage on TBS has been presented by Capital One Venture Card. Heading to the 9th inning. And if you tuned in early and then turned away, yeah, that 5-run 8th inning for the Yankees has given them a 6-5 lead as Derek Jeter leads it off in the 9th. Benji Molina is the new Texas catcher. And Derek Holland remains on the mound for Texas. The 5th Ranger pitcher. Two balls and a strike to the Yankees leadoff hitter. Jeter a run-scoring double in the 8th. As the Yankee bats woke up. That ball's hit to center. Josh Hamilton on his horse. And Jeter pulls into second with his 2nd double in as many innings.
We talked about it before that some of the outfielders are going to play shallow on Jeter, try to take some of those hits away that he drops in front of them. But Jeter beats Hamilton here on this ball to center field. Hit it right on the screws, and even with the great play by Hamilton, not able to get to that baseball.
Derek Jeter and the Yankees trying to give Mariano Rivera a little ninth inning cushion. The lead right now is 1. Here is Swisher. Hitless on the night, but a huge walk in that 8th. Tried to bunt and fouled it. In addition to all those run-scoring hits, were those 2 walks by Darren Oliver issued to Swisher and Teixeira back-to-back. Really fueled that rally.
Swisher had 3 sacrifice bunts in the regular season.
He squares again. Ball and a strike. Or a strike, 0-2. No, it's actually 1-1.
I was surprised they didn't at least appeal to see if he had stabbed at it.
They creep in at the corners. And Holland looks Jeter back. Kerry Wood got out of the 8th after allowing the leadoff walk. The pickoff of Ian Kinsler looms large. Swisher pops that up, and Molina makes the play.
Who said Benji Molina can't move? This bunt attempt by Nick Swisher popped up. Nice quick move by Molina to make that play.
That's my #1 pet peeve in baseball. Talented as these hitters are, they don't seem to put enough time in to try and get bunts down. They don't have to do it that often in the American League, but you can see where that lack of execution right there. An extra run at this point. I know it's Mariano Rivera. It's still huge. He'll take it.
Here's Teixeira. Also looking for his first hit, but he too, like Swisher, walked in the 8th and came around to score. Six runs, 10 hits, 1 error for New York. 5, 6, and 1 for the Rangers. And the waiting game as Teixeira steps out. Jeter leads from second. Derek Holland with a 1-1 due to Teixeira. And now Benji Molina wants to talk it over with the left-hander. In the 8th inning for the New York Yankees. The hits just keep on coming. Derek Jeter, huge. Rodriguez with a bullet past third. Robinson Cano right on the button. Fouled off at the plate. Marcus Timms also contributing a broken bat, run-scoring single. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Mark Teixeira.
One of the things that made this rally and continues to make rallies possible for the New York lineup is they don't have a bunch of heroes, or at least they don't go about it. They all feel if they do their job, the next guy's going to do their job. And those 2 walks you mentioned were huge. At any point, if one of them tried to hit a home run, it would have changed the game. That's how you stay in the moment and you don't swing outside of the strike zone in crucial situations. And the Yankees been there, done that, obviously helps.
And work the counts and work long at bats as they've done the last couple of innings.
Fly ball, shallow right center. Cruz on for the second out. Well, that's a big out for Holland. But his work far from over. Alex Rodriguez steps in.
Well, here's your catch-22, Ron.
Yeah.
If you're the pitching coach, you got to make up your mind when you go out there and say, this is what we want to do. But trying to say be careful because you got a left-hander on deck is not good enough. That left-hander could win the MVP.
MVP also having a great postseason against left-handed pitching, so you have to really go after Alex here.
Jerry Davis going to break up this meeting between Mike Maddox and Benji Molina and Derek Holland. Mariano Rivera looming.
He looks nervous. Speaking of shadows, fast forwarding to tomorrow, we're going to see some shadows in this ball game tomorrow because it's a day game.
Rodriguez swings at the first pitch. Josh Hamilton calls. The Yankees cannot add to their lead. They lead it by 1 going to the bottom of the 9th. We move to the bottom half of the 9th inning. Mariano Rivera on for the New York Yankees, and the Rangers can take some heart knowing, you know what, like very few teams, we've gotten to this guy.
Absolutely, and that's all they can take going into this situation because history in the postseason has not been the same as the regular season.
You saw David Murphy with the walk-off and then Jeff Francoeur with the walk-off hit by pitch. You know, you hear people say that's going to leave a mark. That one didn't. That nipped the jersey of Francoeur, but it forced in the game-winning run. Well, here's Rivera.
Texas became the only team to have 2 walk-off wins in 1 season versus Mariano Rivera.
Greg Golson on to play right field. Used to be with the Texas Rangers. And you saw him come on in game 1 and make that shoestring catch, ruled a hit in Minnesota. Mitch Moreland will pinch hit to lead off the bottom half of the 9th.
You mentioned it before, John. The unsung heroes in this game are going to be Chamberlain and Mosley. 3 innings, no runs.
Moreland hit 9 home runs this year. He grounds that. Picks second. And into right. Leadoff single in the 9th.
Well, just the Cano playing way to pull on Moreland. And this ball is able to escape his grasp. Interesting to have that shift on Moreland, who has only had 145 at-bats this season for Texas.
Now here's the leadoff hitter, Elvis Andrus. Rodriguez way in on the grass. Andrews had 17 sacrifice bunts. Tied for the league lead with Sean Figgins.
It's an interesting dilemma here, or option for Ron Washington. Andrews runs really well, but you want to try to get a guy on second base with opportunities to tie the game first before you can win it.
Andrews showed bunt and pulled it back. And took a strike, 1-1.
The interesting part is Moreland, who got the base hit, does not run that well, so it's a play that you could make to try to be aggressive and get the force at second base.
Look at A-Rod. It was right down his throat. Bunts it foul.
Mariano's a pretty good fielding pitcher, but what you want to do is try to bunt this ball, maybe not now, but at the time you want to bunt it to the first base side and try to get that in-betweener, because it's a lot harder for TEX to come in because A-Rod's already in. Now with 2 strikes, you're going to have to battle.
A-Rod almost intimidating Andrews there. Very hard to get the bunt down when you have that third baseman breathing on your neck.
Moreland with the lead at first, a 1-2 to Elvis Andrews. He lays it down with 2 strikes. They'll field and get him at first. Teixeira made the play. Throwing to Cano. But a 2-strike bunt right up the first base line.
It's interesting, Ron, the way he throws this cutter actually helps you bunt the ball fair. The only one that would be difficult is the one that's inside on his hands, but great job with 2 strikes. You saw the little mix-up right there with TEX and almost threw a little blooper there to first base.
He wasn't sure if Rivera or he was going to make the play. He took the initiative.
The tying run at second. Michael Young has knocked in 2 tonight. He doubled in the 4th to score a pair. Solid career numbers you can see against Mo. And Rivera quickly ahead 0-2.
Rivera has a little more tools to work with now. He also throws that indoor cutter to the right-handed hitter. Starts it right at his hip and bends it over the plate. Also will 2-seam it inside sometimes.
Well, for Moreland, I'd like to see him get a much bigger lead, a secondary lead where it's just a one-way lead to get a better jump if he does get a hit. The outfielders are playing a little bit shallow.
Missed inside, 1-2. Young singled and scored in the 1st on the Josh Hamilton 3-run homer. And with 2 outs in the 4th, his double scored a pair. That made it 5-0. That was a long time ago.
Neither of the infielders, Jeter or Cano, are making any movements at all back to second base.
They know Moreland is not that fast of a runner. They know it's more important for them to hold their position against Young, especially here with 2 strikes. Posada and Rivera want to get on the same game plan here. Jeter wants to come in and check if they change the sign.
One of the reasons I think you're not seeing a pinch runner is you need somebody to play first base if you tie the game.
Young checked his swing.
When have we seen that in the postseason?
Yes, indeed, in Tampa Bay. The Tampa Bay was a little more flagrant than that. got a piece, stays 2-2.
That was a nasty pitch right there. No one, to the viewer at home, it doesn't look like much, but to the hitter, it looks like it's disappearing away from him because it's a late breaking cutter. And Michael Young spoiled off a really good pitch by Mariano.
This is a battle. Rivera against Young. Rivera, 40 years old. Talked to him yesterday about 1996 when he was a setup man for John Wetland. Said he just felt blessed to be on the team at that point, and that if anybody had said this is the way your career is going to play out, he said you were crazy. Two down.
You look at this at bat. This is what makes it so difficult. He throws the cutter that he's trying to get on top of. He can't. He's got 0-2. He's in a defensive position. That pitch is going to set up a later pitch. He checks the swing on this and then fouls off the real nasty one, goes in again, and then, of course, he just goes away. Almost unhittable when he's got it in that position for a hitter.
Michael Young's third strikeout of the night. Here's Josh Hamilton to third. The Yankees have taken game one. Down 5-0. They win it 6-5. And for the Rangers, there are losses. And then there are losses.
Well, coming into this game, we talked about the bullpen. 5 scoreless innings by the New York Yankees. 3 runs given up in an inning and 2/3 by the Texas bullpen.
The only saving grace is they get to go right back at it a little bit sooner, and you don't have to sit on that loss that long. You can get right back in a day game, and hopefully, as we talked about in the open, get your split, turn it over to your Terminator.
We check in with Craig Sager. Sags.
Well, thanks, EJ. You talked about every base runner in the postseason as a rally. Take a look at this uniform of Brett Gardner. Leading off the 8th inning, diving head first to beat the throw to get on base. At that time, did you think it would be such a momentum turner?
You don't know. You just leading off the 8th inning. I think we were down 5-1 at the time. The first 7 innings didn't go too well for us, and trying to get something going and hit a ground ball to the right side and try to beat him to the bag.
Is that an instinctive dive, or did you see something that said, hey, I better go head first, so I'm not going to make it?
Sometimes I feel like I can get there faster depending on how my body's leaning and, just how my steps are getting close to the bag. So, I felt like I could get there quicker, and it worked out.
C.J. Wilson almost stepped on your hand. You were aware of that, too?
Yeah, he did. He stepped on it, but, thank goodness it wasn't a big guy like CC.
You talk about the Yankees. From top to bottom, this lineup is so potent. When you're down 5-0, CC struggling, gives up 3 runs in the first. How do you maintain your composure and the confidence you'll come back?
Well, he had an uncharacteristic start for him, but, that happens. And, we've got guys in the bullpen that can come in and shut the door and, keep them where they're at. And they did just that. They kept them held down, and we were able to come back and, get 5 big runs in the 8th inning. And obviously, whenever you're leading coming into the 9th inning with Mariano on the mound, you feel pretty good.
All right, thanks a lot. Also, Robinson Cano here. He's the one that got the Yankees rally started with the first run with a home run. Also, that big 8th inning, 7 batters. The first 7 batters reached base safely. First of all, the home run. You guys were down, but that kind of got you going.
Well, we know we're facing a tall lefty like Wilson. He's been outstanding and great the whole year, and we said we got to go, go get some hits, and good thing that I ended up hitting a home run.
Ron Washington loaded that bullpen for the postseason with left-handers. He said the guy I have to worry about is Robinson Cano. You've been so successful this year with an MVP season, keeping it going here in the postseason. What's been the difference in your game this year?
I would say the difference is that I've been not chasing pitches that I was in the past. And I always say I want to look for a pitch that I can drive, and good thing they just miss some pitches and I'll take advantage.
This stadium was very relaxed with a 5-0 lead. What was it like in your dugout when you guys were down 5 coming in the late innings?
You know, we trust what we got, and we all know that we got 5 days, not even see a pitcher, and we also say it's got to be 27 out. But good thing we ended up coming back and scoring 5 runs in the 7th. So, you know what, I hope we could go in the same way tomorrow.
Congratulations, enjoy this one. See you tomorrow. Back to you, Jay.
Thank you, Craig. The Yankees show their championship medal. How much does this hurt Nolan Ryan, the Texas Rangers, to lose that 5-0 lead and lose game 1 at home?
Well, they've been resilient all season long, got through some injuries to their main players, Josh Hamilton. They've bounced back all season long, but this is a bitter pill to swallow this game. Tough loss.
Yeah, and you got to turn it over to the next day and say, okay, that's it. I mean, the quick game will help reset the whole mindset.
Our final score tonight in game 1 of the ALCS, the Yankees over the Rangers, 6-5. Be sure to tune in tomorrow on TBS for game 2 of the Yankees and Rangers series. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern with TBS MLB On Deck, presented by Jeep. For Ron Darling, John Smoltz, and Craig Sager and the rest of the crew, I'm Ernie Johnson saying goodnight from Arlington. TBS is your exclusive home for the American League Championship Series. Now stay tuned for Inside MLB, presented by Captain Morgan. Remember to drink responsibly.
What a stunning turn of events in Arlington, Texas tonight. The Texas Rangers cruising with a 5-1 lead. 7 innings of good work out of C.J. Wilson. Leaves the game with a 4-run lead. Poof! It disappears in the 8th, and instead of the Rangers trying to go up 2-0 tomorrow here on TBS, they'll be scrambling to tie this thing up. Our coverage starts at 3:30 Eastern time right here. Then game 2, Yankees and Rangers. Phil Hughes and Colby Lewis on the mound. Back with highlights and a breakdown of what just happened next.
The American League Championship Series coverage on TBS is brought to you by the new Sharp Aquas Quatron 3D TV. You have to see it. By John Hancock. The future is yours. By the rich, creamy taste of fresh avocados. And by the G-Series. Gatorade has evolved.
Back on TBS with our post-game coverage of Game 1 between the Yankees and Rangers. Texas manager Ron Washington is at the podium in Arlington trying to explain a devastating Game 1 loss.
They battled to the last out, and we live the fight again tomorrow. That was it.
Couple more if there's anything. Roger again, over here.
Ron, do you think that a loss like this can have a hangover effect on in the next game?
My team has never had a hangover effect from a tough loss. They always bounce back. They're very resilient. So I expect the same thing tomorrow.
Last one, over here.
Wash, your team's still looking for a home playoff win in this playoffs. You get 2 losses to Tampa, now the loss to the Yankees. Any pressures, anything changed that you guys have not been able to get that win here and put you on the road?
I don't think it's pressure. Oliver been around a long time. Those 2 walks right there is unlike him and just didn't happen. But we'll be back tomorrow. We'll fight just as hard, and tomorrow could be our day. But you got to be able to put this behind you. Been able to do that, and I expect that again tomorrow.
Thank you, Ron.
You bet. Thank you, guys.
Ron Washington doing his best to explain the unexplainable, what just happened in Texas. Inside MLB, presented by Captain Morgan. Welcome in, everybody. We're here to try to explain what just happened, even if the managers couldn't. Cal Ripken Jr., David Wells, Dennis Eckersley, I'm Matt Weiner. That is Nolan Ryan bringing the heat in the opening pitch. And as it turned out, he had better stuff than CC Sabathia.
You think? Well, CC couldn't find the plate. Nolan at least found that corner.
Walked Elvis Andrus to start things off. Josh Hamilton somehow hooked that around the right field foul pole. It's gone. It's a 3-run homer. 3-0 Texas already.
Well, he can hit the curveball in the middle like that. It's the ones that are slaying on the plate that he can't. Well, last series he couldn't hit it with a paddle, but it's a good sign for him that he hit that one and kept it fair.
Damage could have been much, much worse on the wild pitch. Nelson Cruz is coming home. Fortuitous bounce back to Jorge Posada. And yeah, he just got him at the plate.
What a great call by the umpire. Who says the big man can't fill his position?
Yes, he did. Top second, Robinson Cano pops out to shallow left. Cruz makes the nice catch out there.
Early, everything was going Texas's way. Great catches, line drives right at people.
Bases loaded, pop up. That ends another threat for the Yankees. And again, it just felt like the Rangers' night. And C.J. Wilson had a lot to do with that. Alex Rodriguez strikes out for the second time in the fourth. Later with 2 runners on, it's Jorge Posada again right at Cruz.
CJ was in total command for sure.
Sabathia is still out there in the fourth. Michael Young with men on first and second. That'll find their right center field gap. 2 come in, 5-0 Texas.
You're thinking Sabathia's finally starting to come around. He gets 2 guys on, and that hit right there seemed like ball game. 5-0 the way that CJ was throwing.
He came out after 4 innings.
A changeup. A changeup, a high changeup to Cano that gets them on the board. Absolute rocket. He hit a bullet the first time up. And then you see this little harmless ground ball that is going to turn into a disaster for the Texas Rangers.
Just the beginning, as it turned out. Gardner, with that speed, forces the defense to make mistakes. Slides his way into first base. Derek Jeter follows that up with an RBI double down the left field line. That would be it for C.J. Wilson, and it's 5-2 Texas.
I haven't heard much from Derek until that point, and then his bat starts to speak a little bit louder the next at bat too.
This is the game changer right here. Oliver comes in and walks 2 guys, and then they go to first ball hacking. I'm talking bullet. You can't get on Michael Young for not getting in front of this ball. It is an absolute rocket. Once again, 2 RBIs by A-Rod, and we're talking 5-4. Look at this ball. No way.
That's why they call it the hot corner. Sometimes you just have to try to throw your leather.
How about this? Another rocket. You're hoping that somebody's hitting the ball at somebody, but they're not. That air, I believe, did it cost them a run in that little exchange right there? I'm not sure.
A-Rod had heads up going to third base on that play, but I think he was heading there anyway. Good base running by A-Rod.
Those were back-to-back first pitch swings.
Great pitch there, jam shot, but Timms fights it off and just gets it out there and keeps the inning alive.
And it's Gardner back up there. Second at bat in the inning.
Holland ends up doing a nice job, really, to put out that fire. They couldn't stop the bleeding. And this is the play that you're going to go back to if you're the Texas Rangers. You know, Kinsler gets a 4-pitch walk to start off the inning, and a 2-1 pitch, he gets picked off. This cannot happen. You never know what would have happened from that time on. You're talking about Wood, who just threw a 4-pitch walk. He's behind in the count. He's concerned about throwing strikes. He tries to get a jump, and he gets picked off, and he got caught. He just got caught, and it probably cost him.
6 out of the 7 pitches were balls. You didn't know if he could find the strike zone or not. Not the good time to take a chance, but Texas, that's the way they play.
Enter the great Mariano. Rivera sitting on 41 postseason saves. Mitch Moreland's ground ball found a hole. Elvis Andrus with 2 strikes sacrifices him over to second. Michael Young is up. Michael Young is down.
Good at bat by Michael Young. You don't see all the foul balls. And what's he do to a left-handed batter? Eats him alive. Weak ground ball to third. Mariano does it again.
Isn't that the truth? He does eat left-handers alive. It's much better to be a right-hander, making sure that cutter stays away from you and try to chase it as opposed to letting it chase you. Because he's not used to throwing that the front door to righties, and he will make a mistake with that eventually because he's not used to throwing it that side. He wants the lefties at all given costs.
That 5-run eighth did the trick for the Yankees. The last time they trailed by 5 or more runs after 5 innings in a postseason game and came back to win Game 4 of the '96 World Series against the Braves. Joe Girardi on what his team just accomplished to take a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great win for our club, and you know, we get the one run on the homer by Robbie in the 7th, and then that big inning that we have in the 8th all starts with a hustle play by Brett Gardner, and we didn't do much off of C.J. Wilson, and as much success as he's had off of left-handers, our left-handers had most of the hits early on off of him. He was very, very good, but you know, we started scratching, and then you get a double by Jeet, and then, you know, guys start putting good at bats. You get a walk to Swish and Tex. It's a huge win.
A huge win, and just the latest in a long series of wins dating back a while. 10 in a row now. Yankees over the Rangers in the postseason. And obviously a lot of these guys on both sides have nothing to do with this streak, but Rangers have never won a postseason game at home. Only won one postseason series, never been to the World Series. Now they've lost 10 in a row to the Yankees. All this stuff is maybe starting to wear on. They're going to hear about it from the likes of us over the next 24 hours. They won't be able to avoid it.
Yeah.
But there were so many little things in this game. They had a chance to come back with Kinsler on in the 8th, and...
Absolutely. Huge play right there. And you hate to get back on it again, but you just cannot get picked off. And the way that it all started, a 6-5 game, they're trying to make a comeback. You have to remember, he was on base after 4 balls. And Wood is having 4 straight balls, and Wood is having trouble throwing strikes. And then he goes over there on a 2-1 pitch, just checking the runner. And you check the runner, and he's trying to get a jump. And he gets caught. I mean, it happens, but you can't let it happen at this point in the ball game. You never know what's going to happen. There's nobody out when he gets picked off on a 2-1 pitch. You think they're going to make a rally right there. It could have been a completely different game if he's.
I hope it was an attempted steal, not getting picked off on a hit and run. That's a totally different ball game. 2-1 count. You might want to send them, get the runner to second base. But if you're hit and run, you got to make sure he goes home before you move. If you're stealing and that's the way they want to live or die with that stolen base, then it's worth the chance.
But he's not throwing strikes. You can't be hitting and running right there. He was having trouble, you know, Wood throwing strikes. It really was. You never know what's going to happen there. And
well, the more conservative approach is 6 out of 7, you know, weren't strikes, and it's 2-1 count right there. You got to give him a chance to see what that 2-1 pitch. It might go 3-1.
Right.
And then he might walk the first 2 hitters of the inning.
A little aggressive. The Yankees were the worst in the majors in throwing out base runners, trying to steal bases. Maybe that's in the back of Ian Kinsler's mind at that point. There's so many little things that happen in this game. Heroes, goats spread throughout the 9 innings. One of the heroes was Dustin Mosley, who came in for the 6th and 7th for the Yankees, and at the time just seemed like sort of mop-up duty.
Well, who would have thought? I mean, this guy's coming into a 0-0 pressure situation, and he just went out and had some fun. But the movement this kid had on that ball was just had these guys baffled. I mean, it was unbelievable. A little spinner, you know, he'll come up here and throw a little thing, but that 2-seamer right there, it just really had great movement on it, and these guys couldn't get a read on it. And then he got a little spinner right there. Not much movement on it, but good enough to do it. And then Racer X right there. He had Hamilton just going, what the heck was that? But then again, he's running that ball in on Cruz, and it's up in his hand. So it's a good pitch for him right there. That's what they needed. That was the key reliever for the New York Yankees tonight, because he kept them in the ball game, and that's what you have to do. And when you're in a situation like that, like Greg said earlier, game over. You don't want no part of this game. We're done. And then this kid comes in there and dills, and the Yankees, you know what they can do.
Well, throw Jabba in there, too. It was a 1-inning relief. So between the 2, they had 3 innings where they kept the Yankees in the ball game, gave them a chance to come back. So those 2 guys were the pitching stars.
Right. Number 1 in comeback wins this year, and pre-game, you were prescient, as it turns out, because we took you over to the batting cage and you showed us exactly how Robinson Cano can get to left-handers. Turns out he has a huge game, 3 of 4 home run, a couple of RBIs, including the game-tying single.
Well, we certainly highlighted the right guy, and there was a reason why you would highlight him, because he does hit left-handers well, and he does stay in there. I think he hit 13 bombs in the regular season, and he keeps his front shoulder closed. He almost has a closed approach with the front side of his body. You can see right there, it's a changeup. It's kind of unusual for a lefty to throw a left-hander or a changeup like that. Took it deep. He hits the first pitch on a lefty-lefty matchup that's really tough, you know, ordinarily, and he drives in a run right there. He hit another bullet to right center field as well. You know, he showed why he's the MVP. He started them back on the path in the 7th inning, gave them a little bit of hope. Then he finished it off.
Well, you said earlier in the segment today that he stays back a little longer to see that ball, and that's why he went right up the middle on that. Instead of trying to pull it or do anything special with it, he went right up the middle with it.
Well, certainly we were talking about most hitters stand a little bit closer to the plate and have a little bit of an open stance, and they just kind of spin or kind of come out there. old days, you had guys like Larry Parrish and some other guys that dove in the plate. I dove into the plate. Robinson Cano kind of has an open stance, but he has his front side really closed, and he dives in, covers the outside corner, keeps his bat in the strike zone a long time, which is really critical to hit left-handers. And he hits them as good as anybody in the league from the left side.
And Mariano Rivera cleans it up better than anybody in baseball history in the postseason. He comes on for his 42nd career playoff save, and in particular, his approach to Michael Young caught your eye.
Well, it made it interesting. You know, a leadoff base hit and a great bunt to get him over, and Michael Young. And here's a guy that likes the ball out over the plate, and this is where he throws it. He gets away with the first two cutters that were up. He had nice swings at these balls. Then he tries a front door cutter, doesn't get there, and I thought that was close. Didn't call it 2-2, and he fouls off a nasty pitch there, tries to do the front door again, and then a cutter that just cut more than, and I tell you what, it was a great at-bat by Michael Young. But once again, when pitches have to be made, Mariano Rivera makes pitches. And we didn't see the next pitch was on Josh Hamilton's fist, weak ground ball to third. I mean, this guy's 40 years old, and he's doing it, and everybody's waiting for it to happen. But he made it a little interesting. It makes me nervous, even watching the great Mariano Rivera. Right. But he gets it done.
What cracks me up is Michael Young missed that two-piece McNugget. Those two first pitches were Yahtzee, man.
Right.
That was something that could have been.
Every once
Yes,
in a
he did. You know, he better be lucky than good sometimes.
If you don't hit those, you're done.
Yes. Two-piece McNugget. A 5-run 8th inning for the Yankees. All started with that harmless little ground ball by Brett Gardner. That just kept going and going and going. Who says there are no snowballs in Texas? It happened tonight to the Rangers, and they're down 1-0. We'll dissect that 8th when we come back. I'm olaying that, too.
How do you dissect that 8th? That's a tough one.